Do you believe we are live? It's Monday night football. Monday night football. And we're trying out a few new things here. Let's see how it goes. You never really know. You never really know. Boy, oh boy. So we're in StreamYard now. Let's check here. Let me know if you can hear and see me okay in the chat. Uh, We're going to keep tabs on the old football game this evening. We got the Detroit Lions and the Baltimore Craven Ravens, and we'll keep an eye on what's going on with those folks. And we'll chat about all things that the chat wants to chat about. That's what they're there for, chatting. So let me know if you can hear and see me okay. And we'll see how it goes. We'll see if I can get used to the new StreamYard setup here. Let's check this out. Oh. And we'll see how it goes. We'll play around with the features, make sure it's got everything we need. And we'll just chit chat about the Detroit Lions and the Baltimore Craven Ravens. Let's actually throw on the old game so we can see this will work. Monday Night Football. Uh, Join live. Let's just make sure this works. All right, Joe Buck and old Troy Aikman never threw 30 touchdown passes in a season, but he gets to the Hall of Fame anyways. So you got Joe Buck, you got Troy Aikman, you got the Detroit Lions with your Dan Campbell and the kneecap people, and you got the Baltimore Ravens with good old Lamarvelous. So we'll see how that goes. We'll also probably keep track of the Goffens, and we'll see if we can do that and keep our eye on everything at the same time. They're showing right now Lamar Jackson in the locker room getting ready, putting on the shoulder pads and so forth and so on. So we'll see what this game brings. The end of week 3 of the NFL season. Matthias Simon comes in with the Jets perspective. Well, maybe, Matthias, it's time for us to start watching some other football games other than the Jets as well. Become more of a football fan rather than just a Jet fan. Because if we just stay Jet fans only, you're going to live a life of misery, Matthias. And who wants that? Who really wants that? Let's be honest. So now they are talking to Lamarvelous on the sidelines. 24-2 career record versus NFC, it says on the screen there. And as we all know, Lamar is a perennial MVP candidate. Every year he might just win it. Matthias says, agree. I've been doing just that. Yeah, it makes your life better, doesn't it, Matthias? Now, it helps that I'm also an owner of the Green Bay Packers, so I follow them very closely. But I also love football, so I like watching a lot of the teams. Now, some of these games are hard to watch. Some of the quarterback play. I don't know if you've been watching this, Matthias, but some of the quarterback play this year has been very, very bad. Not only the not only the Jets, um, but all around the league, we're seeing some very bad quarterback play. We're seeing some high level quarterback play as well. Josh Allen, Matthew Stafford, Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson, but there's a lot of people that are sliding back. There's a lot of people that are sliding back, including C.J. Stroud. Everybody thought he was the bee's knees. Not so much. Jaden Daniels, before he got injured, wasn't doing so hot. Bo Nix also not doing as well as people might have thought, and so you got a lot of these quarterbacks sliding on back, and so Michael Penix had a terrible game yesterday, for example. I thought he was looking good last year, and now all of a sudden can't hit the broadside of a barn. So, what's up with these people? They can't keep it up. It's crazy. JoJo is here. They're showing Aiden Hutchinson's parents, I guess, on the screen there. JoJo's here. JoJo is a man from Tucson, Arizona. Get back, JoJo. Matthias says, what about all these injuries? Yeah, well, too many injuries. I agree. I hate injuries. I hate injuries and I hate penalties. Two things that make the greatest game in the world not so great anymore. So we got to get rid of these injuries and we got to get rid of these penalties. So much. Incel Alon is here. This should be a high scoring game tonight. It might be. It might not be. You know, the Ravens defense has not been that great so far this year, and you got to wonder why. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. You know, normally they have a great defense. They really haven't been. Now they played the Bills one game, so everything was going fine until the fourth quarter, and Josh Allen ruined their whole night. But I'm not sure what happened in the other game. So we'll keep an eye on it. We'll keep an eye on it. Now, the offense on the other side, the offense hasn't been so high flying. And they had one good game, but then they got off to a slow start. Now they had one good game, so a little inconsistent so far. A little inconsistent. So we'll see what we get this evening. Matthias says, ready to watch a real football game. Well, we played a real football game. We just lost it. You know, what do you want? We couldn't handle the pressure. It was weird. The weird thing is rewatching that game was like you knew like Todd Bowles did what Todd Bowles does. There's nothing strange about what Todd Bowles did to us. He does the same thing every game, and we could not handle it. And that's a little concerning. The running backs were doing stupid things instead of what they should have been doing sometimes. Sometimes the tight ends, sometimes the offensive linemen. It was we just did not handle the pressure well, and that's something that's a little disappointing. But hopefully, it's just because we got a bunch of young fellas on the offensive line, and they get better as time goes on. Hopefully, that's what it is. But we just got to keep an eye on it because that was not a very encouraging sign. With Tyrod in there, if they gave him some time, we could have done a lot better. He had to take a lot of check downs and a lot of short passes because he just didn't have any time to throw. So if we did better, we might have seen an even better performance out of Tyrod. So that's unfortunate, but it was an exciting game at the end. At least we made it exciting, though. If you watch along with me and Green Bean and Jets Chaos, they were going crazy, and I was saying, hold on, the game's not over. They didn't want to hear that at the moment, but turned out to be correct because I know how good Baker Mayfield is now these days. Some people may remember Baker from the year he was injured with the Browns, his last year with the Browns. Things didn't go very well for him, or when he was bouncing around with the Panthers and the Rams and whoever. And they may not know that since he's gotten to Tampa Bay, he's been excellent. And so I knew that, though. So I was like, no, Baker's a killer, man. And you give him a minute 49, he's going to kill you. What are you, crazy? Especially because we kicked it off into the end zone, which was also stupid. We give it to him at the 35. They're almost in field goal range already. That's a situation you cannot kick it into the end zone. You got to kick it and cover it, make them go from the 20-yard line. But no, we kick it into the end zone. They kneel it. They get it at the 35, and Baker does what Baker does. He has really evolved into a really good quarterback. He really has. He had his moments before, when he was with Cleveland. He was a little spotty back then, but he's really matured into a really fine QB. So it's been interesting to watch. All right, they're doing some sort of they're doing the military thing in the beginning. Got the Star Spangled Banner, and they're getting ready to go with the flag and everything else. So this is looking pretty good. Joint Armed Forces Color Guard. Oh yeah, the color guard. That's what they call it. Joint Armed Forces. You gotta love it. Well, most of the games, Matthias, actually come down to 2-minute drills, if you noticed. And sometimes teams stop them, and sometimes they don't. A lot of times they don't. So it's not just us, but our defense is a problem. Our defense is definitely a problem for sure. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, JoJo, with Heat in the post game presser. I don't know what you're talking about. But the fact of the matter is that Glenn has chosen to be combative with the media and nobody on the Jets. Like I think Eric Gelfand deserves to be fired because he never tells our people what's going to happen if they do certain things with the media. You can be sort of like combative with the media, but the media is always going to win. It's very difficult for you as a person who's not in the media to beat the media by insulting them and being combative and all these things. You know, they get the last word. The old saying is they buy the ink by the barrel. Never argue. The old saying is you never argue with anyone who buys ink by the barrelful. And they might take it on the chin one day, but then they're going to write an article the next day and the next day and the next day, and they're going to do video the next day and the next day and the next day, and they're going to do live streams and they're going to do Twitter posts and they're going to bring up every bad stat the Jets have ever had and they'll bring up every damn thing you've ever said. It's very, very difficult to beat them, especially if you're losing. Now, if you're winning, they're going to have a harder time beating you up. So you better win. Well, we're 0-3 and we have a combative head coach with the media. So I'm not sure that really works. Now, if you start winning, it's harder for them because the fans will turn on them and say, "We're winning. Shut up." Like whatever criticism you have, it doesn't matter because we're winning. But we're not winning. And he's chosen this path with the media. Now, this is the way he was with Detroit also when he was a coordinator. It's just how he is. He's not faking it or anything. But I'm not so sure that's going to work in the long run. At the same time, you also can't do the Robert Saleh maneuver of trying to charm them because they're not charmable. So the only thing to really do is to be amiable and nice, but also just give them all the sports cliches. That's it. That's what sports cliches were invented for. Just use the cliches. That's what they're there for. You give them every cliche in the book. That way you're answering their questions, but you're not telling them anything. That's really the only way to play it down the middle with the media. We're just taking it one game at a time. We're just trying to put our best foot forward. All we care about is winning. We don't care about any kind of stats. All the cliches. That's really what people need to be doing. But nobody seems to tell our people this. Like Eric Gelfand is the guy who controls those media operations. He's the one who always you hear him saying, "Oh, one more question, one more question." So he controls all of the media operations for the Jets. He's the top man as far as the media is concerned. So part of his job, in my opinion, should be prepping our people for what they're going to face with this media. Like if you do, like Eric Gelfand should have done a full analysis of all of Coach Glenn's press conferences when he was with the Lions. Once we hired him, right? Then he comes in and he could say, "Listen, Coach, I've looked at how you interacted with the media. You had 700 media appearances. These are the kind of things you do." And if you do those things, I'm not telling you not to do them, but if you do, here's how the media is going to react. Here's what's going to happen. They're going to write this kind of article. They're going to do this kind of video. They're going to do this kind of tweet. They're going to find this kind of information, and they're going to do it this many times going forward. We know this from their history. And so if you want to go down that path, okay, but we would not advise it, you know. But nobody seems to tell these people how to handle the media, which is a big part of the head coaching job. Dealing with our dumbass beat media and being combative with them I don't think works, and being a trying to charm them, I don't think works either. So Jojo says Dolphins quick passing game will be difficult. Yeah, it's difficult for everyone. How are you going to handle it? Basically what you got to do is clog up the middle and make sure that you take Tua's first read away, which is hard, admittedly, because his first read is usually Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle, who are very, very good receivers. But that's basically what you got to try to do. Clog up the middle, take away his first read, and make him panic. Just like Xavier Howard said. It's a tough task, but that's what you got to try to do. And if you can do that enough, you should be able to get some sacks and you should be able to get some bad throws from Tua. And that's really the key to success. All right, the ball is kicked off here. And the Lions have it. They've taken it out to the 25, to the 30, to the 34, 3 or 4 yard line, and that's where they'll get stopped. Now I'm going to try to keep track of all the throws that Jared Goff makes. Yeah, not get into it with Dick Chimney. Yeah, he thinks that's just part of his personality, JoJo. He did the same thing when he was in Detroit. He doesn't suffer those idiots gladly, but at the same time, they will come back on you, like I just said. But of course, one has nothing to do with the other. Of course, he is focused on winning. So let's see. I'm going to keep track of these throws by Goff and what level they're on. Now he does a handoff and goes absolutely nowhere. So 2 yards for Gibbs on that one. Jahmyr Gibbs. They also have David Montgomery, of course. And we'll have to see how these Detroit Lions respond. They're supposed to be NFC bigwigs. They're supposed to be people that want to go to the Super Bowl out of the NFC or at least challenge the Eagles. That's where the Lions are in their offense. So that's a good throw. I would say that's a solid throw. So the categories for the throws are elite. That was not that great. Solid, routine, bad, interceptable, batted throwaways. I would say this is solid. Solid is typically 8 to 12 yards downfield. It's a little bit farther than that. Accurate on coverage bust jumpers. I would say that was a solid throw. So one solid throw out of one for Jared Goff and the Goffense. And now out of the shotgun, hands it over to Gibbs, and he gets stopped in the backfield. So not good blocking on that one. And the Ravens come through. Odafe Owe coming through. And made the Lions offensive lineman say, "Oh no!" Just quickness through the line. They tried to block him with a tight end. Not going to work. They had 2 tight ends over there. They put in a tight end on Owe. That's not a good idea. But it does happen sometimes. Now Goff under center hands it off to Gibbs, and now he finds a little bit of room on the left-hand side. Goes for 4 or 5 yards. So to be third and medium. Third down and medium for the Goffense. 3rd and 6 it is. Leaning on the 3rd and long side. Out tonight, Nnamdi Madubuike, Kyle Van Noy, he's Van Noying, and Jair Alexander all out tonight for the defense of the Craven Ravens. All right, now you got Jared Goff in the shotgun, a 3-by-1 formation here with 11 personnel on the field. He gets the ball, looks to his right, now looks to the center, now looks over the middle. He's got a man wide open. It's Jameson Williams. I would say that's another solid throw. Nah, let's give that even actually great. So for Goff, 1 great throw, 1 solid throw. I would say, given how far downfield it is, 5, 10, 15, 22 yards, yeah, make it great. It was in a spot where only his guy could get it. It was not in danger of being intercepted. You can see there they were in zone. So far, pretty good showing by Mr. Goff. What you see usually with these quarterbacks is a lot of routine throws, what are categorized as routine. For example, Tyrod had about 25 or 6 routine throws against the Buccaneers yesterday. He didn't have any elite throws, 1 great throw, a few solid ones, a few bad ones, 1 interceptable. That did get intercepted, unfortunately. All right, so now Goff is there all the way down to the 16-yard line. Goff in the shotgun. Looks like 11 personnel again. Looks over the middle, looks to the left, now goes out to the outside. That's a routine throw there. Routine throws are check down screens. They should be completed every single time, 100% of the time. Routine throws. If you can't complete routine throws 100% of the time, you probably shouldn't be in the league or you're not ready to play just yet. Anyways. All right. So now we got 3rd and 3. So let's see if the Craven Ravens can stop them here, at least to force a field goal. Although Dan Campbell is known as a guy who loves to go for it on 4th down. So we'll see what happens here if they are able to stop him. Man in motion now, 2-by-2 formation, 11 personnel. Goff fakes one way, goes the other, incomplete. So that is a bad or inaccurate pass right there. So out of the 4 passes, 1 great, 1 solid, 1 routine, 1 bad. Now it's 4th and 3, decision time for Dan Campbell. ACDC, what is he going to do? Does he take the field goal or does he go for the touchdown or at least a first down? He can still get a first down without getting into the end zone. So he looks like he is going to go for it. He's got 11 personnel on the field, a 3-by-1 passing strength to the right. Goff is perhaps changing it up. Man in motion now. It's a 2-by-2 people running around. Maybe they're not going to snap this. No, they are going to snap it. And now Goff looks to his right. He's got a man. He hits him. It's St. Brown. That's a first down. That, I would say, is a solid throw. Being probably a little generous there. But I would say that's a solid throw. It wasn't long downfield, but it was placed perfectly. Let's see. Ooh, a little behind, but maybe that's routine. Yeah, that's a routine throw. All right, but now they get a new set of downs, and it's 1st and goal on the 4.5-yard line. Man in motion. They hand it off to Gibbs up the middle. Gets 2, 3, fighting for more yardage. Gets about to the 1-yard line. So should be 2nd and goal from the 1. So a good solid drive for the Lions. They want to go fast now. They probably did not sub out, so they probably like the package that the Ravens are in. They're holding him up. Now they're saying they could snap it. Goff under center, St. Brown in motion. They hand it off to Gibbs up the middle. He's got it. That's a touchdown, Leones. So there you go. That's how you play offensive football, ladies and gentlemen. And maybe this Raven defense might be a problem, but let's wait till the game goes on a little bit. But this, the Ravens normally have a very stout defense. So far this year, not so stout. So maybe they're missing Matabuike, or maybe they're missing Van Annoying, or maybe they're missing Jair Alexander. I don't know what it is, but so far, no good for these Ravens. And field extra point up and good. So 7-0 Leones. They got it. They got it going on. JoJo says Detroit has drafted so well. Yeah, Brad Holmes deserves a lot of credit for their success, really. Now they know how to use players also. They're very strategic in how they do it. So Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes, they deserve a lot of credit and all of their scouting staff and everything. They've been able to withstand injuries pretty well, although last year they kind of fell apart at the end, but there's only so much you can do with everybody out, So yeah, they do deserve a lot of credit. I think one of the things that they do is they find role players, in the mid and late rounds, which is which is what you should look for there. Now it's made it a lot easier for them that they got Jared Goff in that trade, and Goff has been steady, while not great or elite or anything, but he's at least steady, and you can win with him. And that was a great initial decision by Brad Holmes to get him in that trade. And then when they were building up the team, they didn't have to worry about quarterback at all, really. They got some backups through there. Hendon Hooker didn't work out. They tried him. Remember, they had to get Teddy Bridgewater last year to come in. because they just didn't believe in Hendon Hooker, and he's turned out to be pretty much a bust. But, that's the backup position. I mean, when you have your starter in there and, he's a guy that has been very healthy, he doesn't get hurt much, knock on wood, Jared Goff. So, and like I said, not an elite passer, but, good enough. And when you get good enough, what that allows you to do is just worry about all the other positions, and it's so much easier. You don't have to worry about a guy. Can he handle the offense? Can he run things? Can he shift the protections? Can he be a leader? Do people like him? Do they go to his birthday party? All these things, you don't have to worry about that. You got that in the bag. So now you just focus on everything else. And it took them a couple of years, but they did it. And now they're here. Started from the bottom. Now they're here. And we'll see how this year goes. I mean, now the expectations are very high for Detroit. So they were very low for a long time. But now, I mean, they're expected to at least go to the NFC Championship game and face off against the Eagles, you would think. So, anything short of that is going to be disappointing for Detroit, but still should be a fun year for Detroit fans relative to now that kickoff hit into the zone and then went into the end zone, and they chose not to return it. So does this go out to the 35 or the 20? I wonder. Because how can you penalize the kicking team? They kicked it in the zone. The guy just didn't pick it up. But it looks like it goes all the way out. Oh, no, they're at the 20. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense then. All right, so the Ravens start out at the 20-yard line. And they start out with a play action pass. Lamar looks to his right, got a wide open receiver. It's Mark Andrews, the tight end, go all the way down to the 40-yard line. So that's a 20-yard pickup for number 89, Mark Andrews, the tight end with the great hands, usually. And snuck out into coverage and found an open spot. And Lamar smartly found him. Nice, easy pitch and catch. Nobody there, and went for 20 yards. So that's how you do it. Take what they give you. All right, Lamar under center now. Aiden Hutchinson goes offside, so that's going to be another 5 yards. Jumped offside for some reason. We don't know why. We don't know why. All right, so now Lamar puts a man in motion. That's Charlie Kolar, their third tight end. Well, now he's probably their second with Likely out. And they hand it off to King Henry, and he rumbles for 5 or 6 or 7 yards. First down for King Henry and the Ravens. So the Ravens also moving the ball. So Incel Elon may have been correct when he said this is going to be a high scoring game. Both of these teams moving the ball. Defense doesn't seem to be um, doing very well, at least so far in these first two drives of the ball game. Lamar now in the shotgun. He hands it off. No, he keeps it. And they cannot contain him. And there he goes. He gets about 12 or 13 yards as Lamar scoots on down the field the way he can. One of the faster people in the NFL, of course. They had Andrews in the backfield on that one. Not that he was really needed to block much. Lamar made his own block with his juke moves, which of course are legendary. They call him the human joystick. Legendary juke moves for Mr. Lamar. Now he's in the shotgun. Nobody in the backfield with him, so he's Going to be a pass. He throws it to Andrews. He's got it. Not able to shed the tackle of Kirby Joseph, but still a gain of 7 or 8 yards on first down. You'll take that every single time. So the Baltimore Ravens moving the ball down the field very well. Lions don't seem to have any answers for this high-powered offense known as your Baltimore Ravens. And now they're at the plus 29-yard line. Man in motion left to right is Andrews, as Lamar is still in the shotgun, and zone read hands it off to King Henry. Not able to get too much on that one. Maybe a yard, maybe. So it'll be 3rd down and 1. 3rd down and 1. Let's see if the Lions can come up with a stop. On the other hand, even if they do, this is probably 4-down territory for Mr. Harbaugh and the Ravens. Ravens are at home. DJ Reed is on the field. Oh, yeah, I forgot our old friend DJ Reed, number 4. There's a guy we could have signed instead of Brandon Stevens, but we didn't. All right, now here's one up the middle. There goes King Henry. Makes one move, shifts to the left, and he's all the way into the end zone. So, like a hot knife through butter, both of these offense. Oh, nope, there's a penalty on the defense, so that will be declined, obviously. And so, yeah, the offenses are just taking charge of this ball game. Maybe we will have a barn burner after all. Maybe we will. Maybe we will indeed. Is Henry ever going to slow down? I don't think so. I mean, that guy is incredible, isn't he? Whatever he's got going on, he's got the Emmett Smith genes. You know, he could just go and go and go. It just doesn't, most running backs, their careers are over by 28. Not King Henry. He can just keep going until he just, I don't know, until he's 40 years old, I guess. Whatever genetics he's got going on, somebody should study them. We should make sure this guy has a lot of children because his genetics are just phenomenal. I hope he's married and I hope he has lots and lots of childrens. Still can't believe the Titans let him go. Yeah. And that was Vrabel. Vrabel, after Mike Vrabel lost Derrick Henry, he hasn't exactly been a great coach. There is that to think about. There is that to think about. Maybe it was all Derrick Henry. Well, plus a good defense too, but yeah, 7-7 ball game on a Monday night. We're here on the Frankie channel. StreamYard seems to be working pretty good so far. I still got to get used to some of these features. Restream was giving me big time problems with regard to not even seeing comments. Comments would stop coming in. And that's very disconcerting, especially on Sundays when we got a lot more people than we do right now in the chat. So we said goodbye to Restream. We're going to try StreamYard. We'll see how this works out. I think it has a lot of the same features, and I just got to get used to it. So we'll see what we can do. Media assets. So I can have, oh, that's right. This thing has some like applause. Bongos. We could use some of these. We could definitely use some of these. We definitely could. So we shall see. It's always good to have sound effects available. You never know when you might need them. All right, now the new kicker for the Ravens kicks it off to the Lions. They field it out to the 20, 25, 30, and down by the 33-yard line. There he goes. Paisan is here. Sup, Paisan? Sup yourself. Still got the desk bell. Havmo wants to know. I do. It's right here. But with this new microphone, and tell me if this microphone's better or worse than the previous. But with this new microphone, I don't think you can hear this bell. Ready? I'm gonna click it. Let me know if you hear that. Now my anticipation is that you can't, and that was one of the problems we have with this microphone. But I'm not going to let that stop me. Havmo. All right, here's a throw from Goff. This is a routine throw, and that's bad. Although they might say that's a backward pass. Now we're also charting better, says Havmo. All right. That's what we think with this new mic here. They're saying, so am I going to give Goff a bad pass on this? If this is a forward pass, this is bad because he couldn't even complete. This should be routine. He should hit this every time. That's a forward pass. I don't know what they're talking about. I'm going to put that as a bad pass. That's two bad passes for Goff. Should have been routine. Now he's handing the ball off to, oh boy, that didn't work out good. Well, he got it back close to the line of scrimmage. So the Lions may be in a little trouble on this drive here. Now it's going to be third down and long. The running back on that one ran into his own man. It's definitely a forward pass. What are they? Well, maybe from that angle, it looks not so clear. Third and 19. So I guess they said it wasn't a forward pass. All right. I guess that comes off as ledger because it wasn't a pass. Still not good. All right, now Goff is from the shotgun. And he throws a screen out to Gibbs. That's something we should have done more against the Bucks. That's a routine pass there. Should hit that every single time. We should have done way more screens against the Bucks, I think. So there, the Ravens come up big with a stop, 3 and out, and now Lamar will get the ball back. Paisan says Baltimore is really the only team that freaks me out. I don't want to see them again. I know KC has our number of the playoffs, but to me, I think we finally have the team to handle them this year. I know this is a Jet show, but I figured I'd share. Well, if I were you, Paisan, I'd be worried about the Chargers, the Ravens. Denver could be annoying, but their quarterback isn't as good as people think. So, yeah, it should be. I mean, basically, you have very little competition. I would say it's the Ravens, the Chiefs. Then I would throw the Chargers up there. I would throw the Broncos are like a wild card. You know, if Knicks has has a crazy day where he gets a lot of luck, you know, with their defense, they could mess you up. But they're on a lower tier. The top tier in the AFC is the Bills, the Ravens, the Chiefs, with a question mark. We got to see if their early stumbles, sustain or whether they get it corrected. And then the Chargers. I would put the Chargers as the new team up there because with Harbaugh, I think he's going to get the most out of Herbert, and Herbert is really good. And I think he was lifting up bad teams previously and bad coaching and so forth. But yeah, that's the upper tier. That's the upper echelon of the AFC. Anybody else can get in there? Probably not. If the Browns ever figured out quarterback, I mean, their defense is crazy good this year. They've always had good personnel, but now they're playing good, really good so far anyway. If the Browns could ever get a quarterback, they might be scary, but they don't have one now. They got Flacco and a bunch of kids, so yeah, that's about it. I mean, the Bengals, you know, would be up there, but with Burrow out, probably not. So, yeah. That's chalk, Paisan. That's not anything surprising, Paisan. I wouldn't. JoJo says Baltimore and Buffalo. I would not count out the Chargers. Now they don't have the track record. They're known for choking, of course. They don't have the track record of these other two. But I think with Harbaugh now and Herbo playing his best now, I would throw the Chargers up there. And you can't count out the Chiefs. You just can't. I don't care what anybody says. They got Mahomes. You never count out Mahomes. That's just all there is to it. And then you got to think about, the Kelsey Taylor Swift thing, which is it's really hard for me to think that the NFL is going to let the Chiefs just fade away when you got when you got all that money sitting there with the Swifties. But there's only so much you can do with holding calls and so forth. So um you can't count out you just cannot count out a team with Mahomes on it. I'm sorry, you just can't. But they are showing a little some problems. Amazing how yeah, good coaching. I think, part of the coaching thing is just recognizing talent. That's the thing that worries me about the Jets right now, Havmo. A lot of coaching is just talent recognition and seeing what you need and can this guy do it or not and being correct. I'm a little worried about the Jets based on their roster construction about that. We'll see how Justin Fields does whenever he comes back. But if he turns out to play poorly, that's another decision they made to spend a lot of resources on him. You know, so we'll have to see. Although it's a reasonable thing to do. JoJo says if the Chargers can get the running game going like yesterday, they will be tough. Yeah, well, every team needs to be balanced, have at least threat balance. Now the Chargers got a bad, blow yesterday because Najee Harris is out for the year with an Achilles. So, he's a good little runner. So, hate to see that, and that hurts them. But you know, hopefully they don't suffer too many injuries. You don't want any team to really have injuries. These teams, you want to see the players. You want to see who you want to see. And now the Ravens 3-and-out. So Detroit does a good job there. So tit for tat, 3-and-out. I think it was 3-and-out for the Ravens. Wasn't paying close attention, but Lamar looks a little frustrated, and they're coming off the field. So I guess they're punting. Yeah, there's the old punter. So the Detroit Lion defense comes up big now. And so we thought we might have a barn burner, and then we had 2 3-and-out series and drives here. Now the Detroit returner goes all the way back to the 2-yard line and decides to take it out. That's not smart and gets it to the 6-yard line. Plus, there's a flag on the play. Flag on the play. There's TJ Tampa. A lot of people liked him as a cornerback coming out of college. I think Dom C liked him. He's a special teamer now for Baltimore. Holding. So now it's going to be all the way to the 3-yard line. So we'll see what the offense can do here. Paisan says, I agree. Herbert is a beast. Yeah. Yeah. He was underrated for a long time, but he had bad teams. He didn't have wide receivers. Quentin Johnston kept dropping the ball. He had bad defenses. He had Brandon Staley as a head coach. He had a lot of problems, and he still carried them to the playoffs. He had some injuries as well, unfortunately. But yeah, when he's healthy and playing well, that dude he has a rocket for an arm. He's very accurate, and he's big and tall and strong, and he runs like the breeze. So, if anybody's going to really challenge Josh Allen, you know, and you think about it, the top tier of the AFC, those quarterbacks are all kind of amazing. Herbert, Allen, Lamar, Patrick. Yeah, you want to be at the elite, get an amazing quarterback. Just get one. Just find as if it's that easy. Just find one. But boy, if you do find one, holy smokes. but a lot of people, I mean, think about if you were a Dolphin fan and you took Tua over Herbert. Oh, Dolphin fans gotta be kicking themselves every single day. Yeah, JoJo says the same thing. Well, the owner, I think, wanted him. I think it was Stephen Ross. We all know, Brian Flores didn't want him. I think Brian Flores has been proven correct. Now, should he have treated him the way he treated him? No, of course not. But I think he was correct. But for whatever reason, and you got to think about it, man. These owners, right? There's 31 of them because I am one of, I think, 700,000 owners of the Packers. So you take the Packers out of it. There's 31 owners. Think about being one of these really rich guys. You know how many um, corporate entities, PR firms, people with an interest in the success of a certain player, like let's say Tua. There's a lot of people behind these people, these athletes, whether it's their agents, their PR people, their management, their this, their that, they had all these things, and they're all lobbying you somehow behind the scenes. You think these owners don't get lobbied by people? Hey, take my guy. He's the best. I swear he's gonna do all these things. And if you take him, we'll give you this, we'll give you that. You know, we'll make sure your team gets this, that, whatever it is. There's got to be deals going on. There's whole campaigns behind people. You remember Heisman for Theismann? Remember that? There's all these campaigns. There's the whole school situation. These schools want these guys to go high because it's better for them. Then they can recruit better, and all the people associated with that school, all the boosters, all the collectives. There's a lot of money behind these people, and it must be hard for an owner to really know. What does an owner know? What does Woody know? You know what I mean? From a football side. And it's just not so simple as let's take the best football player. It's like, well, all these people are telling me Tua. My GM wants to take, I don't know what Chris Greer wanted at that point in time. Chris Greer, I don't know if we know what he wanted, but my coach is telling me take the other guy. And Herbert was not a slam dunk at the time. I mean, he was very well regarded, but people had questions about him. I don't really remember what they were, but but there were questions. He was not a slam dunk. But there's and then you think that there's all these people who say negative get things into the press about the other people. Like all the Tua people, probably put things in the press about Herbert, negative things. Oh, he's not that athletic, or he's I don't know. I don't know what they said coming out. He's from Oregon. He's not going to be able to handle, the AFC East or something. I don't know. Who knows what they said? I forget. Goff back to pass. That's I would put that as a solid pass. That's two solid passes for Goff and the Goff fans. Ball is what? 15 yards downfield? Yeah, that's solid. Right on the money. Laporte has got it. All right. So we're tracking the passing of Jared Goff here on the FSPN channel. So far, he's got one great throw, two solid throws, three routine throws, and one bad throw. 7 passes so far. I have him down for. And we go to commercial. End of the first quarter. Paisan says, "How about C.J. Stroud falling off?" Yeah, but that's one of the reasons we want to do more of these quarterback charting exercises, Paisan, because there are some people in the minority who said, C.J. Stroud had a lot of luck that first year, and he made a lot of bad throws, but then he got bailed out by big plays. You know what I mean? Making a lot of bad throws, but then he would make an incredible throw downfield. And if you're making tons and tons of bad throws, eventually that catches up to you. You consistently need to make the routine throws like 100% of the time. And you need to be making great and elite throws a lot of times because this is the NFL. It's hard. It's supposed to be hard. Yeah. Bialy 66 is here. And so some people said CJ Stroud isn't as good as people think. I didn't say that, but some people did. So, you know, that's one of the reasons you actually have to watch the film and freaking grade the throws because a lot of times you can't even look at stats because you could have a bad throw, but a receiver catches it, like goes behind him, makes a circus catch. That's a bad throw, but it counts as a completion and you get all the yards and stuff, in the stats. But you got to watch it and say and kind of keep track. That way you know how many bad throws they make and how many great and elite throws. If guys consistently making elite throws, I mean that's going to be a great passer, even if the receiver drops it. A receiver drops an elite throw. An elite throw is like a deep pass that's perfectly thrown, like 30, 40 yards. You chuck it downfield and it's perfectly thrown. It's in the guy's hands. But let's say he drops it. Now, how can you in the stats? That's bad for the quarterback, right? It's an incompletion. But the reality is it was an elite throw. That's the reality. How can you penalize a guy because a guy dropped it? So I'm thinking that this way of charting these guys is going to really help me going forward to know who's really good and who's actually overrated, underrated. What's going on, really? Because I want to know who are the best of the best and who consistently makes great and elite throws and who just making routine throws, and stuff like that. So we're keeping track of Goff tonight just to test out the system. Goff back to pass now, and there's a routine throw to I think that's Montgomery. He jukes a dude and is able to get a first down. See now, also like that pass right there will go for what 11, 12 yards. So it looks like a great pass in the box score and some of the stats and stuff. But that's just a routine throw, and the running back just ran for an extra 7, 8 yards. That's not Goff shouldn't get credit for that. Goff just made a routine throw that you should make every single time, which he did, so he gets credit for it. But he shouldn't get credit for like an elite or great throw or even solid. That's just a routine throw right there. So you got to go beyond the stats. Right, Goff now back to pass. He's actually scrambling. Well, that's a rarity, and he scrambles for quite a few yards. You don't see that every day. And that's, I think, something else that has helped Goff stay healthy for the most part. He doesn't really run. They often say the safest place for a quarterback to be is in the pocket, even though those pockets get muddy at times. These running quarterbacks are great, but man, the injury risk goes up. Goff now gives it off to Gibbs. Oh, is he going to get tackled in the backfield? That didn't go well. That didn't fool anybody. So now it's third down. Can the Ravens come up with this big third down stop? There's 13:38 left in the second quarter. We're all tied at 7 in this Monday Night Football tussle between the Lions and the Ravens. In the real world, a lion would certainly eat a raven. I don't think a raven would have any chance against a lion in nature. But here in the NFL, certainly the Ravens certainly do have a chance to feast upon these lions. Now they're bringing everybody to the line of scrimmage. Who's going to come? Who's not going to come? This is called an amoeba front. Goff back to pass. They bring four. He throws it over the middle. That's a solid pass to Laporta, who has hands of stickum. I'm going to give him solid on that because of the distance. But it was a fairly easy pass, but I'd give him a solid because it was, what, 12 yards down the field, 5, 10, 10-ish. So we'll give him a solid. Give him a solid on that one. Nice job by Laporta with the hands. Have you ever seen Laporta drop a pass? I have not. So now it's first down and 10 at the minus 43 and a half. Now they hand it off to Montgomery. He's trying to find a hole, can't find one. Not going to go anywhere. That's minus 1 yards. That's going to be second down and 11, I would say. They're saying 10. I'd say 11. What do I know? I'm not spotting the ball. Zach Orr, the second season as the Ravens defensive coordinator, very highly regarded in the league as far as I know. We got 12 personnel on the field now. They hand the ball off to Montgomery. He finds a big hole and takes it out to the plus 47-yard line, close to a first down. They're saying it's third down, so it'll be third down and short now. They're on the other side of the 50. Ravens really not doing too well as far as the defense is concerned. Out of the three drives, they had one 3 and out, but the other two drives now are pretty long drives where they're getting first downs. First one resulted in a touchdown. This one's still ongoing. Third and yard, just about, maybe a little bit less. But third and one, they're not going to use a tush push. Hand it off to Gibbs, makes one move, and that should be a first down. That will be a first down, yes. So again, another long drive by the Lions here, eating up a lot of the clock. We're almost a third of the way through the second quarter, and we've only had three possessions, three drives, I believe. So Goff is now in the shotgun, 2-by-2 formation, 11 personnel on the field. Looks left, looks center, looks right, can't find anybody. Now finds the running back. The flag comes out. It looks like it's probably going to be defensive holding, which will probably be declined. Something on the defense, legal contact. I've seen this a lot where these defensive backs just kind of get in the way of the receiver and then try to hold them. I don't know what that's about. They're more than 5 yards down the field. Now there's a stacked backfield. This is a weird formation. We got two running backs and one tight end in the backfield with Goff directly behind him. I formation. Run it up the middle. Montgomery gets through for about 8 or 9 yards. David Montgomery with some tough running gets a first down. So these Ravens have not been able to really stuff the Lions very much with their vaunted defense. Missing Mwadabuike, which is an important, big player for them. But still, one player shouldn't determine your success on defense, as we all know. All right, now Goff is under center. He's moving Laporta from left to right. Got a 2-by-2 formation here with one running back in the backfield. It's Montgomery. He goes left, goes right, now goes up the middle, and he gets about 10 or 11 yards, another first down for the Lions. So they're moving the ball very well. Gives him Montgomery the 1-2 punch for the Lions. A very good rushing attack. They get a lot of touchdowns, 54 since 2023, the most by any teammate combo. Now they're moving Laporta into the backfield again. And here's Gibbs on a handoff and makes 2 yards. So the Ravens were able to stuff him on that one. Again, very ball controlled offense here. Not a ton of throws. They're just beating them up front, getting a lot of great movement up front, and really able to run the ball significantly. 12 personnel again for the Lions. Two tight ends on the right-hand side of the formation. Handoff up the middle to Gibbs. He's able to break free, get again 8 or 9 yards. They are really getting 8 yards a clip on these runs. Why throw it when you can run it like this? And they're chewing up the clock. Now, the only problem with this kind of a methodology is you got to make sure you get a touchdown at the end of these long drives. But on the other hand, you are keeping LaMarvelous off the field. So That's the other benefit to all these running plays. Now it's 3rd down and 1. Got, I think, 13. No, this is 12 personnel on the field. You got twins tight ends on the left side of the formation. Goff sneaks it and he gets a couple of yards. 1st down easy. Making everything kind of look easy against this Baltimore defense. Christian Mahogany in there. Tate Ratledge in there. Some recent draft picks for the Lions. Always restocking the offensive line with good draft picks. Something you got to do. Something the Jets have failed to do very well, anyways. Recent years, those backup positions, we haven't been able to find good backups. Goff now back to throw, and that's a routine throw to Gibbs up the middle. He might have even gotten into the end zone. They're going to probably look at that one. I would say that's a routine throw for Goff. Let's see if he got in. No, he's down. So that's at the 1 yard line. They'll probably just try to keep running it. No reason to risk a throw, probably. Nice pitch and catch. Current drive, 17 plays. This is the 18th play of the drive. That is a long drive. And they handed up the middle to Montgomery. Did he get in there? They are saying no, but now one ref does say, yeah, I got in. Let's take a look and make sure. Did look like he broke it, but sometimes you got to check it out. Montgomery. Yeah, broke the plane. No problem. Touchdown. Touchdown, Leones. They got it. They got it. JoJo says, definitely need to charge some of the college quarterbacks. Yeah, that's the problem, right? Because there's so many. How the hell would I chart all of them? But if I had a good system and I had the time and somebody was paying me, JoJo, yeah, I definitely would. There's so many of these dudes, and you don't even know who's going to come out. That's a problem. So Paisan likes Raiola, but Raiola might not even come out. Yeah, he's looking good so far. But what if he stays in school? Then I waste all my time charting his freaking passes and he stays in school. So there's a bunch of problems with charting the college quarterbacks. But of course, if this system works out and I like it, then I think what I could do is start, after the season is over, start going back, seeing who's coming out, who's not, narrow it down, and maybe it's between 2 or 3 guys, right? And maybe I could start charting those dudes. Because we do need a filtering system for these college people. You got to know who's a fraudulent dude and who's a real man. You know, we do need a way to filter them, and so this could be the way. Laporte is so clutch. Yeah, the man never drops a pass. I've never seen him drop anything. He's got Velcro hands. Well, the problem is Gibbs and Monty are better, and plus our blocking isn't great right now. Our blocking quality is not up to par right now. You see the way that they're getting pushed against the friggin' Ravens for God's sakes? Like they're pushing them 2, 3, 4 yards down the field. That's a problem. Right now, we have a good offensive line in terms of who they are, but they haven't been playing great, at least not yet. One game they played okay, but then the last two, no bueno. So really, we need to get our blocking on scheme, on point, and then we could use Allen and Brees and whoever you want. In fact, doesn't really matter. I think Gibbs is a little bit of a different animal because his speed. He just has so much speed. He's faster than anyone we got. But nonetheless, yeah, if you have two good running backs, it's good to use them, but you got to block it up. and there's just too many plays where we can't block the damn thing up, and people are in our backfield, and we're not getting push, and that's no bueno. So that's really been our problem this year so far. We got to get our blocking straightened out. Montgomery going to be the workhorse. St. Brown has not been really that much involved. I think he has one or two catches, maybe. But yeah, they're just running it down their throats, And they got the touchdown, so that's good. They didn't have to. They didn't have to settle for a field goal because you really don't want to eat all this clock and then kick a field goal. Makes it too easy for the other team. But yeah, they're a good 1-2 punch, and you could throw it to them out of the backfield. I mean, some of the problems our running backs have is with blitz pickup. I mean, yesterday was a nightmare for our running backs. They didn't know what the hell they were doing with blitz pickup, and you can't have that. Oh, there goes the returner for the Ravens. He takes it all the way out to the 50-yard line. Great return from number 26, whoever that is. Not good coverage by the Lions. No bueno. You know, yeah, you think you're on cloud nine with all that offense. How about a little kick coverage? Dan Campbell got to go to work. Yeah, they're showing the big boys over there, and that's who they should be showing. They're the superstars. To me, the offensive linemen are the superstars, my opinion. All right, Lamar Jackson now hands it off to Henry. He goes right up the middle for 3, 4, 5 yards, thereabouts. So it'll be second down now. Yeah. And we got 7-point deficit for the Ravens as we're moving forward here. 5:17 remaining in the second quarter, second down and 6. Lamar from the shotgun, 3-by-1 formation, man in motion right to left. He fakes it out there, now takes off and runs, and he's not going to go very far. They take him down. That'll be a sack, perhaps, for Derek Barnes, right around the line of scrimmage. Now it's going to be third down and 6. And the returner was actually tackled by the kicker. So that's surprising. Good job by the kick man. All right, now it's third down and 6. So Lamar out of the shotgun. Got a 2-by-2 formation, 11 personnel on the field with Mark Andrews in line blocking. Lamar back to pass rush coming for him. He escapes to the left, throws, and is it complete to the Batman? It is. Bateman with the catch on the sideline. That is a high level throw, I would say. Moving to his left and threads the needle. I would probably. I'm not charting Lamar, but if I was, I'd probably characterize this as a great throw. Only his guy could get it. Had it in his left hand, moves it to the right hand, throws it right to the sideline. Yeah, it's a great throw. Boy, name me 5 quarterbacks who can make that throw. Geez, Lamar. Now they're trying to blitz him. He throws it deep down the left-hand side, wide open. And there's another great throw due to the depth of it. Put it right on him. Number 81, whoever that is, Walker. I don't know who that is, but coverage breakdown. Lamar found him. And now they're right down by the goal line. 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 40 yards downfield, 35, 40, something like that. And Lamar just throws it on the run off of 1 foot. Puts it right in the bread basket. No problem. No problem. Yeah, I'm Lamar. I'm Lamar Jackson. No problem. Unbelievable. 32nd pick in the first round, ladies and gentlemen. 32nd pick in the first round. Devontae Walker. 3 catches for 60 yards. That's a pretty good average. All right, now they're at the 1 yard line, handed off to King Henry. He works his way, does not make it all the way to the goal line, so got stuffed on that one. 2nd and goal. Lamar seems upset with the play calling for some reason. And now, just walking off. What is it, a timeout or something? What's going on here? 3rd and goal. It's actually 3rd and goal. People are walking around. Are they taking a timeout or what's going on? Oh, it's going to be the 2-minute warning. So Lamar doesn't seem happy. Something's going on with this play calling. But nonetheless, they're 1 yard away from tying the ball game up very easily. As you saw, Lamar just a couple of flicks of the wrist, and they're all the way down there. And that's what happens when you got a superstar quarterback. Not that the Jets would know anything about that. But that's what happens with these superstars. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert. All these people. That's what they do. That's what they do. That's what they do. Let's see what these banners are about. Oh, yeah, we could show this. We got these iron laws. We got media assets. We got paint train coming. Paint train coming. It's kind of a long one. That's kind of a long one. All right, well, we're back now. Into the ball's at the less than 1 yard line. So now nobody has really explained to me sufficiently why Brian Branch keeps his mouth guard in his helmet, on top of the helmet. Doesn't seem to use it for his mouth, but he keeps it on top of his helmet. Can someone explain that to me? Now they hand it off to King Henry on a pitch, and he gets stuffed. It goes backwards. That's surprising. 4th and goal. Now it's from the 3 or 4 yard line. They got one shot. They might kick a field goal, maybe. Or will they go for it? You got King Henry. You got Lamar Jackson. You got what's his name with the big hand man with size 52 hands. Why don't you throw to him, DeAndre Hopkins? Now Lamar's just going to take it. Triple option. Oh, boy. And he fumbles it. My goodness, a sack fumbalaya with DJ Reed in there. Holy smokes. Just throw it to DeAndre Hopkins and let him catch it with his size 42 hands. What are you doing? And DJ Reed's getting a lot of plaudits from his teammates and the defensive coordinator. Reed jumped up and then basically played a role in denying him. Big play by the Detroit defense. DJ Reed getting in there. How about that? Folk? No, Folk was not hurt. Folk is good folk. He's good to go. Waterfall sound. Yeah, we got a bunch of media assets here that they give us. Got a police siren. That's what that sounds like. Some of you have probably heard that a little too often in your own lives. We got the drum roll. We got a bounce. We got applause. Got a train whistle. And we got this fountain. So we got, we got some stuff here. See now, so when somebody asks a question like this one, gives me a little thing that says it's a question. When I click that, nothing happens. Interesting. I guess it's just to notify me that someone has a question. So basically, DJ Reed made that play. We could have had him. A couple more millions. We could have had DJ Reed. Instead, we had to have Brandon Stevens for some reason. Could have kept DJ Reed. Well, oh well. He's probably better off in Detroit, anyways. He's probably better off in Detroit than being here in this shit show. All right, now Goff and the Goffins back on the field for the final 124. We're charting his passes here. Goff now back to pass. Now escaping pressure. Looks to his left, and that would be a bad pass. So that is the second bad pass that we've charted. He currently has one great. Oh, there's a flag on the play. Flag on the play. Flag on the play. Got to be a flag on the play. One great pass. Illegal contact. So now do I take that off my chart? See, these are the things you got to figure out if you're charting. That play officially doesn't count, but he threw the ball. The play went forward, and we're charting passes. But the problem is, if I charted that, then I'm going to have a different amount of passes as the box score. So I'm going to take it off my chart. Now he's back to pass, looking, can't find anybody, looking to escape the pocket, throws it away. So that's a throwaway. We have a category for that. So that's something to think about with these charts. To me, like in my drive charts that I do for the Jets, I'll keep that play on there because I don't really care about matching it up to the box score. But with this, I don't know. I have to think about it. Do you want to penalize the guy, for example, for a bad throw when there was a penalty and the play didn't count? I don't know. For now, I'll keep it consistent with the box score. Think about it some more. Ooh, that was a bad pass, I'll say. That's a pass. It's not a fumble. This is a forward pass. What are you guys talking about? Well, let's make sure. Throws it. Well, there's a receiver right there. I mean, the only thing you could call is uh, no, but they're not going to call it because there was a receiver right there. Well, that's good, but it's still a bad pass on the ledger. The old Frankie score. Now it's 3rd down and 10, a minute 10 left, and now if they get a stop here, I mean, very easily could go down and score again. So they throw a screen, so that's a routine pass. It doesn't go anywhere. See, so Goff right now, one great pass, three solid, six routine, two bad, and one throwaway. So, this is kind of like, and this chart right here will almost always become an unskewed, uh, bell curve. Almost always, because if you see a skewed bell curve based on these numbers, like if somebody's throwing like a ton of elite passes, that's going to be a Hall of Famer. You know what I mean? Like most guys it's going to be, a couple of maybe one elite throw or two, maybe a handful of great ones. Oh, they almost blocked that. A couple of solid ones, and then most of them are just going to be routine throws. And that's what you notice is that these NFL teams just ask these quarterbacks to make routine throws almost all the time. Flatbush Dre is here. What's up, Dre? It's Dre Day. Somebody forgot about Dre. I heard somebody forgot about Dre, but I could be misinformed. Um, so yeah, what you notice is these teams they don't really even ask the quarterbacks to do that much normally. It's a lot of routine throws, and so if the quarterback can't even do that, if the quarterback can't even make these like with Zach Wilson, for example, for God's sakes, couldn't even make the routine ones, you got a big problem, right? So, and you see these quarterbacks who are efficient or at least decent, like Goff. At least he can make the efficient ones. At least he can make the routine ones, and then occasionally makes a solid, and more occasionally makes a great or elite throw. I don't have him for any elite throws today, but so we're charting it. We're charting it. We're keeping a new system. I'll show you guys the system here. Let's see if I can show you guys the system. Let's move this over here for a second. This is the system right here. Do do be do. And as you can see, he's on par for having a C grade for the game. So, you know, that's how we're tracking it tonight. And I think this is going to be really something that's going to work going forward for these quarterbacks because you really need some kind of system. I mean, it's going to be this plus a bunch of other stuff, but this is sort of like a good foundation to understand these quarterbacks and what they're actually are they actually good or you know are they throwing routine like Tua just throws a lot of routine passes, then Tyreek Hill just runs for forever because he's the fastest man on earth. But Josh Allen makes a lot of elite throws, for example. So, you really should be able to differentiate between these people, which is what you want. Because otherwise, it's hard to tell. Should we take Drew Aller, Fernando Mendoza, Dylan Raiola, this one, that one, Cade Klubnik? That's a no go for me. Yeah, which one do we take? We got to have a system to figure it out. So we're working on a system now, and we'll see how it works out. But now Lamar has the ball back with 55 seconds. He's back to pass. Now he's going to scramble, and with his speed, he takes it all the way to the 35-yard line. So they're well within field goal range now, and this is a byproduct of the Lions not moving the ball after they stopped them down by the goal line. You kind of had to get a few first downs. Otherwise, you were going to give Lamar the ball back with plenty of time. And he's one of these many quarterbacks you don't want to give him any time at all because he will do this to you. And he can also throw it a million yards as well, as we all know. Lamar tonight, 5 out of 6, 78 yards, 25 rush yards. So not a ton of production, but they haven't had the ball that much. So now he's back to pass, and he avoids a sack, looking, can't find anybody, looking, throws. Wow. Even that, I would give that a great throw. It wasn't very far, but I mean, look at the placement on this. And the running back makes a great catch. Lamar looks like he's unhappy about a lot of things tonight. I don't know what. I mean, people weren't getting open there. He had a lot of time. The offensive line was doing pretty good. Paisan says, I like Rayola because he's a Paisan. Well, we need a system that differentiates more, a little bit more than just what their nationality is. So Lamar is in the shotgun. He's got a 3-by-1 formation here. Looks to his left, looks to his left, looks to his left, and now throws it out of. Oh no, doesn't throw it out of bounds. There's D Hop, makes a catch. That's who you should have gone to at the goal line. You throw it to the man who never drops anything. Yeah, that's what you do. You got the old man there. Use him. He's good for 3 or 4 catches a night before he has to go to sleep. He could do it. And now they're well within field goal range. So the Lions kind of screwed up that whole series. They block him up, and again they're throwing it at DeAndre Hopkins toward him. Now they're getting into it with Terrion Arnold. He wants offensive pass interference, and he is ticky tack. Probably should have been a no call, to be honest. I don't like these ticky tack penalties. Terrion Arnold, 7 defensive pass interferences last year, tied most in the NFL. Not good. But they call these penalties way too much. But now they got the ball all the way down again by the 1 yard line or so. And there's 27 seconds left, plenty of time. So the Lions really screwed this up by not getting a couple of first downs when they stopped them by the goal line last time. Because what are the chances they're going to be able to do it again? Yeah, nil. That's what the chances are. And you let them go down and score. I don't know. A lot of these defenses that were supposed to be good aren't looking too good. The Lions defense isn't looking too good. The Ravens defense isn't looking too good. Our defense stinks to high heaven. The Dolphins defense hasn't been doing too good. The Steelers, well, they played good yesterday, I guess. But some of these people who are supposed to have good defenses, not so good. I mean, these teams are just going up and down the field. You know, the Ravens have 2 touchdowns in another drive that ended at the 1 yard line, basically. So 14-14 score. But that's a problem when you stop them on the 1 yard line, although they took it all the way to the 20. But then Goff and the offense couldn't get any first downs. So big problem. Little big problem. Little big problem. Man, it would be good if we could stop looking at Jason Kelsey for like 5 seconds. Like, could we not have Jason Kelsey on the television for 5 minutes, please? He's doing commercials. He's in the band. He's working for Amazon. He's working for ESPN. Is there any job this guy doesn't have? Can we stop looking at this guy for 5 minutes? I guess not. All right, now the Ravens are trying to kick off. The ball falls off the tee. That's no good. So we're getting close to halftime. We're gonna have to have a halftime break. I wonder what music we can play at halftime. 18 seconds. I don't think they're going to do much here. Must be the eyebrows. All right, 18 seconds does look like they're going to try to do something. They have 11 personnel on the field right now. And Goff is in the shotgun, and he is going to try to pass. That's a routine throw. Tackled immediately. So now I guess they're calling timeout. Yeah. And for halftime, I think FSPN will turn into K Frank. Did I upload that? No. We got to upload a logo. We got to find this logo. All right, Goff and back to pass now. Second down and 6. Another routine throw over the middle to St. Brown. He's throwing 3-yard passes. I mean, this is not going to get it done, Jared. You can't throw 3-yard passes with time running out. You got to move the ball down the field, buddy. But this is something he doesn't do well. I don't think he throws the ball downfield that great. This is not here. Huh. Wonder where I do have that. Mhm. Shoot. I guess we'll have to do without it. Oh, yeah. The Ravens have that Mike Green guy. He was supposed to be good. What happened to him? Has he done anything? I haven't seen him do anything. Jeremy comes in. Happy New Year to my fellow Jews. Oh, yeah. It's a holiday. It's a Jewish holiday. Happy Rosh Hashanah or Shana Loma or whatever it may be to all the fellow Jewish people out there. Happy holidays. Russia Homa. Remember they used to call it Russia Homa, but that's not the official name. All right. Now it's third down and 3. What are the Lions trying to accomplish with 7 seconds and Jared Noodle Arm Goff on the field? What are they trying to accomplish here? They got one timeout. They're throwing a pass over the middle. They get down, call time. They're going to kick a 70-yard field goal. That's what's going on. What? 9. 9 routine passes for Jared Goff tonight. What I got. Jake Bates going to go for a 1,000,000-yard field goal. Can he hit it? Shanatova. We love those days because we got off from school. Oh, yeah. Shanatova. It would be like one of these Jewish holidays and be like, wait, it's a Jewish holiday? Yeah. What is it? Who cares? We get off from school. Let's have more of these. Shanatova, Bossanova. Got to know when to hold them. Know when to fold them. I'm going to create a new logo right now. Ready? Let's do it. 67-yard field goal. That didn't play. All right, then now they're going to try to kick a 67-yard field goal. The longest field goal in the history of the NFL is no good. No bueno. Wide right. Sorry, Bates. No good. No good. Uh, no good. Missed it. Just missed it. Just missed it. Oh, that didn't work. Let's try Chat GPT. Grok kind of stinks at images. Tell you that much. Oh, wait a minute. Probably get it from here. Hang on a second. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what we could do. Download this. Go to here. Because we need to switch over. Sometimes it's FSPN, but other times we're not so much FSPN. Other times we got other things going on, like playing music. In which case, we need a different logo in the corner of the screen, like this one. And in that case, then we got to start playing music, because if this is K Frank, then the music's got to start playing like this. This is sort of a demo. right. Well, as Good Charlotte is playing on the halftime show, we are, on the other hand, playing music from K Frank, the music that Frankie likes. And how about a song off of the seminal album from Das Frog called Body and Mind? And here's a track called Medallion. This is a polished track. Previous one was just a demo. This is a produced, polished track called Medallion by the great indie band from Staten Island called Das Frog.
Eyesight, it was a clear sight, abandoned, handed down to me. A history, it's been given, long but shortened in my hand. Free swinging, forceful singing my name. Hang around, my hold me up, soak me in, and let them read my side. Together, it announces my every move, transforming these gatherings, clenched in my fingers it begins. Free swinging, forceful singing my name. Hang around, my hold me up, soak me in, let them read my share. Now it calls attention to my heart and to my chest. My drive is so insatiable, it drags me down. My charm hangs from a prison chain. Free swinging, forceful singing my name. Hang around, my hold me up, soak me in, and let them read my shine. Free swinging, forceful singing my name. Hang around, my hold me up, soak me in, and let them read my sign. Read my sign. It was so long ago I carried that book of poems, but I had no sign. No, I had no rhyme. It was so long ago I carried that book of poems, but I'd done my time. No, I had no shine.
And welcome back to K Frank, playing the music Frankie likes. Hang on. If you don't pause it, it keeps going. And so here we are on K Frank. There's about 3.5 minutes left in the halftime show. They're playing Good Charlotte over there in their stadium. So we need to play a little music in K Frank Stadium, on the Frankie from Flatbush channel. And of course, we don't want to play any copyrighted music, so we got to play the music that we do have access to that is not copyrighted by some greedy bastards. So we're going to stick with the theme of Das Frog.
4.
Staten Island's own. Bassist Brian Smith from New Jersey. Drummer J.P. Pantozzi. Lead guitarist Rob Norris. And lead singer Christopher Gilson. Formed the band The Force and Mill.
When I rise from the mire, I'll be above you. It's a crime that desire had to corrupt you. I am armed with an armload of stories. Some are weighted with shame, some tell of glory. Well, when you rise from this madness and see how guilty your past is, you'll be so gone by then that only God will be your friend. Yeah, yeah, yeah. When I rise from depression, I'll be against you. Your manufactured oppression, I guess it freed you. Well, when you rise from this madness and see how guilty your past is, you'll be so gone by then that only God will hold your hand. Yeah, yeah, yeah. When you rise from this madness and see how guilty your past is, I'll watch you burn in the fire. I'll be a bird on the wire. Well, I'm a sconce with desire, but I can't handle the liar. Oh, when you rise from the madness and see how guilty your past is, you'll be so gone by then that only God will be your friend. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now we're back with FSPN. The game's back on. Game back on. And they're interviewing old John Harbaugh. Been the coach of the Ravens for about 300 years. He's not giving it up at any point in time. And the Ravens now have the ball. So they scored at the end of the first half to even it up. And now they got the ball back. So they got it at the 27-yard line. And Lamar looks, and finds Derrick Henry for about a 6-yard gain. Pretty good on first down. So they're showing some of the troubles that Aiden Hutchins is having. He's not having an impact on this game, I tell you that much. Then again, it's hard to affect Lamar Jackson after all. Now they hand the ball off to Derrick Henry, and he's close to a first down. Should be third and very short. Jeremy mentions the Ravens coach has a brother who coaches the Chargers. Yeah, his name is Harbaugh as well. And we were talking earlier, Jeremy, that it looks like the Chargers are probably going to get into that upper echelon of the AFC, where you got the Ravens, you got the Bills, you got the Chiefs, and probably this year the Chargers. We'll have to see how it goes, but probably the Chargers. So you're going to have the Harbaughs. Two out of the four teams in the upper echelon in the AFC are going to be Harbaughs. So it's going to be very harmonious in the AFC coming up in the years to come. They're showing the highest career passer rating in NFL history. And Lamar is number one. You wouldn't think that, but he is. Much better passer than people give him credit for. Oh, now that was not a good pass at all. That should have been picked off. And probably if Brian Branch didn't keep his mouth guard stuck at the top of his helmet, he probably would have caught that. So the Jets are not the only team to drop interceptions, I guess. But this was just a dumb idea. I guess he didn't think Branch would cut off covering the other guy, but Kirby Joseph was also right there. This was just a bad decision by Lamar. Really gave him a chance there. Now you see he's got the mouth guard on the top of the helmet. The mouth guard is not guarding anything. It's not doing anything. It's just hanging out there. And nobody seems to know why. Then again, if it works for you, buddy, it looks good on you. Looks good on you, buddy. Alan Dodds is here. The Dodester is a member of the Frankie from Flatbush Inner Circle. If you'd like to join the Inner Circle, it's just $2 a month. Why not? Check it out. You get exclusive videos. You get exclusive documents. You get exclusive draft books that cost money. You get them for free. 3rd and 6. Did he get it? Yeah, they're saying he cleared it. I might challenge that spot if I were Dan Campbell. ACDC. No, you got it, I guess. Forward progress. Forward progress. Todd Monken is the offensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens. Now they hand it off to Derrick Henry. He goes toward the middle, gets 3 or 4 yards. Looked like he had a hold to the outside, but didn't take it. Tyler Linderbaum is down, but I think he's gotten up now. That would be a devastating blow to these Ravens to lose their center. But he's up and fine, so that's good. Second down and 6. Lamar under center. Got a 2-by-2 formation, 11 personnel on the field. He fakes the handoff, now goes over the middle, wide open man. It's Charlie Kolar. The tight end gets all the way down to the 25-yard line. So once again, the Baltimore Ravens are pretty much cutting through this defense like a hot knife through butter. Not a lot of resistance from the Lions. You're not seeing a lot of Aiden Hutchinson. You're not seeing a lot of Alex Anzalone. Who are these people, and why aren't they doing more to help their team prevent all of these things from happening? Wide open receivers, running lanes all over the place. Even Charlie Kolar getting in on the action. Now there's a penalty against the Ravens. But Aiden Hutchinson really not rounded into form yet. You figure maybe by mid-season, toward the end of the season, maybe he'll be feeling better. Yeah, he had a pretty rough injury last year. And so he is somebody making his way back, maybe not 100% yet, but we'll have to see if he's able to make an impact. They got a stacked line here, so it looks like they're trying to prevent the run. And so, of course, the Ravens pass and they throw it to the short-handed tight end, who was pretty well covered, but much bigger tight end than the safety. That's Mark Andrews. Good hands, man. Normally, except when he plays the Bills, I guess. But normally, very sure-handed tight end. Good to have, big dude. Doesn't even really have to be open. He's not really open here, but just goes up and gets the ball. Not much else Brian Branch could do there. It was nice coverage. The man was just too big for him. Too little. You're too little, Branchy. Too little. Too little, too late. Sorry, Mr. Branch. So now they pitch it out to Derrick Henry, who's trying to throw a pass, and DJ Reed does his best Jets impression by dropping an interception. Come on, DJ. And Lamar is still angry. Boy, Lamar's been upset this evening. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing throwing a pass with Derrick Henry. That's pretty stupid. When you have all these other options and weapons, we're going to pitch it out to Henry and let him throw a pass. And he throws it to a covered guy, and DJ Reed should have really picked it off, but couldn't do it. I mean, you have all these weapons. Just throw it up to DeAndre Hopkins for one thing, or let Lamar run around and score a touchdown. I mean, you have all these friggin' weapons. And that's what you're doing? What are you doing, Monkin? Well, now he's back to pass and looks in the direction of Hopkins. Can't seem to find him. Now he's running around and gets sacked. So that didn't work either. Well, now it's 3rd and goal. Evmo says DJ Reed. Yeah, DJ Reed, he's on this team. He did his best Jets impression by dropping a interception. Yeah, he was imitating Ahmad Sauce Gardner by dropping an interception. Throwaways per game. Wow, they keep track of that. 0.7. Anyway, Lamar back to pass now, looks in the direction of the receiver, and he's got him. What a play. What a catch. I would put that as a great throw. Boy, it's really interesting because when he gets in trouble, Lamar can go to Andrews. He can go to D Hop. He can go to Bateman. He's got so many places he can go. Mark Andrews really showing that, hey, I have value here. I'm not just one man who dropped a pass against the Bills. I can do things too. And again, Anzalone's covering him pretty good. Doesn't matter. Ball placement, excellent. Catch, excellent. And holds it onto the ground and no problems. Very hard to defend a perfectly thrown pass, I'll tell you that much. Alan Dode says Lamar's career as a running back won't last long. He's transitioning to quarterback. Said Lamar, but meant Derrick Henry. Yeah, they should not have Derrick Henry throwing the ball. That's something they shouldn't do. They have all these weapons now. I mean, they spent all these years without any weapons for Lamar and all that, and now they have them. They have all these receivers now. They have Zay Flowers. They have Bateman. They got Andrews. They got all these people. D Hop. And the last thing you want to do is have Derrick Henry throw a pass. It's so stupid. But I guess even old Todd Monken's got to have a stupid play in him once in a while, I guess. But because DJ Reed had the lingering Jets disease, of course, he dropped the interception, which is what we specialize in. And so he dropped it. You can't do that. Can't do that. Can't give Lamar chances. He's Lamar. Lamar is Lamar. And he is really something. Really something. Avmo says Andrews is nuts. Well, I don't know how nuts he is, but he's a really good tight end. That much is clear. Dode says, I'm tired. Well, it's 10 o'clock here on the East Coast, 2200 hours and 2 minutes as well. And so it's been a long day, Dodester. I mean, it's Monday night. We all went to work. Well, most of us did anyway. I don't know. What did you guys do? I went to work. I went to work, by the way, at the university that kicked Bill Belichick's butt this weekend. I don't know if you guys saw that. UCF handed Bill Belichick an embarrassing defeat. We kicked their asses, basically. And so there's that. And then I learned that UCF also, Dodes, this may interest you. We just made preeminence, baby. That's right. UCF is now a preeminent university. There's only 5 of them in Florida, and we're the 5th. So that was good news. I mean, we won our first big game of the season against UNC. Bill Belichick, the dark hoodie, came to town with his 23-year-old girlfriend. Thought he was going to run this town. Called the Central. Fuck that guy. We beat his ass 1,000,000 to nothing. And then we find out on Monday, today, that we made preeminence, which is a big deal in the state of Florida, if you know anything about Florida state schools. So we are the best. We're number one. And, but it's been a long day of work. I mean, we got a lot going on over here. And then we're doing a live stream. We're keeping track of Jared Goff's passing. I mean, there's a lot going on. I mean, I put out, and Dodes, don't forget, I put out a member exclusive video tonight. So you got the PFF grades. All the members of the Frankie channel get all the PFF grades. So you don't have to subscribe to PFF. I save you so much money. It's not even funny. You know? And all right, so now Goff is back at it. He's under center, 14 out of 17 to 935 yards, down 7 points. Let's see how the Lions respond. Goff back to pass, looking, throws. I would say that's a bad pass. Goff's grade going down and down and down. Third bad pass of the game. Now he's below a C on the grading scale so far. We can't buy a turnover at a pastry shop. Yeah, bad defenses do that. Yeah, you wonder if Bill is really playing with that. With what? Now, shotgun formation for Goff. They hand it off to Gibbs, who gets about 7 yards. So it'll be 3rd down and 3. 3rd down and 3. Can the Lions respond, or will the Ravens start to pull away here in the second half as their offense has looked pretty dominant? The Detroit defense has looked not so great. Ravens defense has been a little inconsistent. But they have gotten a stop or two or so. Now it's 3rd down and 3. He's in the shotgun. Montgomery and Gibbs in the game. Throws it over the middle to his sure-handed tight end, Laporta. That's the man he goes to when he needs completion. I would say that's a routine throw. 10 of those tonight. And the reason is it's only, 4 or 5 yards from the line of scrimmage? Yeah, that's a routine throw. He's had 10 of those tonight. 3 solid, 1 great, 3 bad, 1 throwaway. But that extends the drive now. 1st down and 10, 7:28 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Hands it off to Gibbs, goes right up the middle. He's got 8, 9, maybe even 10 yards. So that'll be a 1st down or very close to it. The running game has looked very good for the Lions tonight. Much better than the passing game, I would say. And they continue to want to do that, to want to run the ball down their throat. And that offensive line is doing great work. Our offensive line, not so much, at least so far. And you see the big difference. I mean, they're getting a lot of push. They're pushing 2, 3, 4 yards down the line of scrimmage, and these running backs are able to get a full head of steam and get going. There's a first down for Gibbs, for example. All they needed was 1 yard. That's what they got. But they got Chris Jenkins. That's Chris Jenkins's kid, right? Remember Chris Jenkins for the Jets? I think that's his kid. I think he went to Michigan, if I'm not mistaken. Then you got Johnny Moe is the offensive coordinator for the Lions. He used to be our offensive coordinator back in the day. He didn't do a good job for us, apparently, but good enough for the Lions. He's best buddies with David Shaw, the former Stanford coach, who's also on the. Here's a flea flicker for the Lions. Goff throwing. Oh, that's a decent play. A little trickeration. I would say that's a solid. Should that be a solid or? I'll give him a great throw. Some of these ones are judgment calls. I'll give him a great one. First of all, is on a flea flicker. So that you got to say that gives it a little extra difficulty. And then, I mean, let's see how far downfield this is really. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Yeah. Give him a great one. Feeling generous. Feeling generous. Goff back to pass again, goes to the right sideline, and he's got it. St. Brown. St. Clair, St. Brown. I would say this is another great throw by Goff. So 2 great throws in a row for Jared Goff. Looks like he's going to tie up the score. Give him another great throw. That's 3. It's 15, about 20 yards down the field. He's got to put it on the back shoulder. Yeah, that's I would say a great throw. Not elite, but great. Good job, Goffy. So they came back and answered. And you notice they're not kicking field goals. The real teams don't mess around with these field goals, really, unless they have to. They're going for touchdowns. The real teams, they don't mess around and go, hey, let's kick a field. No, they want touchdowns. Evmo says Frankie's pass tracker is fun. Well, let's hope so. Let's take a look. Since we have a break here, this is a commercial break. Let's put this over here. Let's see where we are. Let's add this to stage. So as you can see for the Goffmeister, he's got no elite throws so far. And you can see each one of these has a multiplier. So, you get more points, the better the throw is. So elite throws have a multiplier of 4. Great throws have a multiplier of 3. Solid, 2. Routine, 1. So forth and so on. Bad, you get a -1. Interceptable, you get -3. Batted balls and throwaways, you get, don't count against you. And then it adds up to a grade. Now, the grading system is hard. For example, in this game right now, Jared Goff has a 1.1 score, which would give him a C grade. Right now, he's a C on this game. Even though they have 21 points, he has a high completion percentage, he has a bunch of yardage. For me, in this hard grading system, it's a hard grading system for sure. Right now, he would get a C. And a C is really a quarterback you could win with. You really don't want to be below 1 because it goes from C to F and really F minus. Because if I can't win with you, I don't want any part of you. This game is about winning. You play to win the game. So if you are below a C, it might as well be an F minus because I don't want to mess around with any D's, D plus, D minus, It's either I can win with you or I can't. So a C graded quarterback is someone you can win with. B means you're in the top 10. A means you're at the very top of the league. You're elite. And so you want to be at least a C in this grading system. And so that's where we're at. And so, Goff is in his, I can win with you C grade. so far. If he throws a couple of elite passes, hey, then it'll improve. But if he throws some interceptables, it'll go down. So we're tracking it. I got 20 throws tracked so far, and that's where we're at. And we're also testing this out as a system to see if it can work. Because if this system works, uh, then we might have something to judge these college quarterbacks on, something demonstrable, something quantifiable, where we can really figure out who whose stats are kind of fraudulent out of these college guys. Who's throwing a lot of screen passes and a lot of, you know, dink and dunk crap, you know, and who's really making the elite passes that you're going to have to make at the NFL level. You need a way to suss that out. And so we're hoping that this system um, is that. So we're testing it out. We're keeping track, of course, of the Jets quarterback play, which hasn't been good except for the first game was C, like a C. Uh, but then, of course, Justin Fields in the second game was like an F minus, and then um, what was? Let me see what Taylor was. Oh yeah, Taylor was F minus also. Even with all those passes he completed, he threw too many routine passes. He threw Tyrod Taylor had 5 bad passes, 1 interceptable, and 22 routine. So that really brought his grade down. So he was below C. Anything below C is an F minus because I don't want you around. Now here's Lamar, and it's going to be another sack for Muhammad, but he kind of just ran right into him. It's a risk you take. Now, Lamar can usually avoid those defensive players, but sometimes he runs around and runs kind of right into them. That's not good. So they did a play action. Lamar couldn't find anybody, and normally he escapes that, but in this case, he could not do so. And they didn't call. See, now if this was us, they would call roughing the passer for sure. You held on to him too long. It was gave him too much of a bear hug. That's a penalty. Hey, there's a good rush by Hutchinson. Didn't get home, but forced it out maybe a little quicker than they wanted. That was a good rush by Hutch. And now it's 4th down. So the defense comes up big. So this is a pretty good tussle here. 21-21, 3:47 remaining in the third quarter. Some defensive stands, some good offensive play. This was pretty good back and forth. Pretty good. Pretty good. Punter is Jordan Stout. Goes behind and goes to the 4-yard line. So Detroit will have the ball at the 4. A nice punt by Stoutman, the Stoutster. He's got it. It's getting late. It's 22:16 hours, but let me know if you guys in the chat want to talk about anything. You don't have to be quiet. You can speak up. We're going to commercial break. We could kick it over to K Frank playing the music that Frankie likes. Sometimes I can be a broadcaster. I can broadcast a football game, as if I'm Bob Wischusen on the radio. But other times I could be a DJ as well. I got lots of skills, you see. Lots and lots of skills. Hidden talents and so forth and so on. But we can also respond to chats. We're also doing a bit of a test on StreamYard. Probably going to come over to StreamYard. Well, we'll see how it goes. But Restream is just dropping too many comments. I mean, Restream just stops showing you comments. That's no good. That is certainly no good. So we'll just have to see. What happens if I have some old video clips here. What happens if I play this? Let's do some testing, shall we?
And here we go.
That's pretty cool. I forgot I had that in here. I guess I used to use that at the beginning of the live streams. What about this one? Man, we got some old clips in here. Forgot what I had in here. Ollie doesn't even want to talk about the Jets anymore. Wait until Wednesday. Well, Doge says current Frankie's theme song gets stuck in his head. Well, that's the whole point of it. Hopefully, it's very catchy. Good to hear that, Dodester. You need to like start singing it to your coworkers so they can subscribe to the channel. Yeah, and become Frankie Inner Circle members for $2 a month. Get exclusive videos made for them, like all the PFF grades and DVOA grades and everything else. Tomorrow we're going to do DVOA. We're going to do PFF. We'll do the FPI. We'll do all the fun in-depth stuff. And that'll be for channel members only. $2 a month gets you access. It's a good deal. Oh, that's a bad pass. So Goff missed that one. So let's go to the Goffense. Bad. That's his fourth bad pass. So now he's right at 1. He's right at the edge of going from a C to an F minus. So we'll see how he continues. But it's second down and 10 now. They've been trying to run the ball, 25 rush, 22 pass. Here's another rush with Montgomery, and they've been very successful up the middle. And there goes David Montgomery for a long gainer. And Humphrey's trying to catch up, and they get him at the 12-yard line. That is a massive run. David Montgomery sprung it. What is going on with this Ravens run defense? Imagine being a Baltimore Ravens fan and watching this and saying, "Wait a minute, we're good at defense. What is happening?" Well, not tonight, you're not. David Montgomery with a 60, 70 million yard run. This is from the 15-yard line. He went all the way to the other side. That's like a million yards or something. That was like a 70-yard run. Yeah, 72-yard rush. That's insane. And then they rush it up the middle again. So John Morton, Johnny Moe up in the booth, you got to give him credit. The man says these guys can't handle us. Keep going. Keep doing it. Don't let them prove they can stuff it before we do something else. Montgomery has 114 yards rushing at 12.7 average. Jesus. Yeah, well, they're not us. All right, now here's Goff. That's a routine pass to Laporta. You should if if you have a real team. We have a bunch of bums on our team, unfortunately. But the Eagles have a stacked roster, as we all know. They're Super Bowl contenders, and we're in the ghetto. We're not in the gated community. The Eagles are in the gated community. They have all the toys. They have all the players. They got all the athletes. They got all the role players. They got everything. They're Super Bowl contenders. I mean, I would say they're the NFC favorites, right, to go to the Super Bowl again. Who would be a favorite over them in the NFC? Hard to imagine. So yeah, if you have a team that's a Super Bowl contender, sure. But when you have a team full of bums like we do, it's a little harder because as we all know, we constructed our roster very poorly, as we have documented on this channel. Coffee with Frankie, 10 a.m. Sunday morning. If you want to know what's going to happen tomorrow or down the line, you watch Coffee with Frankie, and I tell you. And then you watch with horror as it comes to pass. I told you the last year solid that our defense was way overrated. I was correct. Amundo. Bialy says, when will the Jets be in a gated community? Maybe 30 years from now. I mean, it's hard to see a path forward. We got to get a quarterback. We got to get a defense. I mean, these are important things. We got to figure out what's going on with this offensive line. We thought the offensive line was going to be good. They haven't played good the last two games. Membu has been good, but something's going on with Olu, for example. So you need an offensive line and a quarterback to start with, and then you start building around from there. So until we get a quarterback, Bialy, it's impossible to say. The Eagles had Carson Wentz, and he was an MVP candidate. Then he got injured, and then they got Jared. They got Jalen Hurts. 4th and 1. Now the Lions are going for it. They might go for it. I mean, you might want to kick a field goal for once, but they're going to let the clock run out. You got to. I mean, it's a tie ball game on the road. 4th and 1. Kick the field goal, right? I mean, they would be super aggressive. Now, the reason you wouldn't want to do that is Lamar's on the other side. And sure, he screws up sometimes, but he's also capable of incredible plays. So this will be an interesting decision for Dan Campbell here. But as far as the Jets are concerned in the gated community, you need a quarterback. This year was to see if Justin Fields could keep improving on what he did with the Steelers. So far, the answer is no. But it's just 2 games played, so it's too small a sample size. He played one good game and one horrible game. So we got to see what happens with that. If he turns out to be amazing, which is a very low probability, then we stick with him and we just bulk up the team, do all the things in the offseason you would do, and knowing you have your quarterback and you're not taking any of the guys in the first round of the draft. If he's not the guy, then our first round pick is going to be a quarterback. And then it's the big debate of the offseason, who is going to be the quarterback, which is where my passer thing comes into play. Why do you think I'm building it, Bialy? Because I am anticipating we're going to need to evaluate these bums, these guys coming out of the draft. And we're going to have to narrow it down some way. For example, DJ Lagway, if he were to come out, he's probably going back to school, but he would not be someone we should consider at all. But he's probably going back to school. Lenora Sellers would be someone who's a maybe at this point in time, but he's probably going back to school. Arch Manning is probably going back to school. So these people are going to sort themselves out to some extent, but then we need to further filter it down. Yeah, you can keep the faith all you want, but we got to get the players. Faith is important, but so are players. As I tried to explain all summer, you can't just have a roster of bums and think you're going to coach them up. It doesn't work that way. I mean, just look what the San Francisco 49ers did. They got Robert Saleh. They know what type of system he wants to run, and then they acquired all the players that he needs. They drafted 50,000 D linemen. They got Bryce Huff. They just got all these people because they know what type of thing Saleh needs to run his system, and they're going for it. This is unbelievable. These guys hate kicking field goals, and they have a good field goal kicker. 4th down and 1 on the road against the Ravens, and you don't want to kick a field goal. I think that says a lot about your defense. You do not believe you can hold Lamar down, but he is Lamar, so I can understand both sides of this argument. Goff now under center. They got big personnel in there. They do a double thing. Wow, that's a cool play. They did a double handoff. Well, at least they did something creative and it worked. If it didn't work, you would look like a moron, but they're not scared of looking like morons. So I got to give them A plus for balls. You know, Dan Campbell is a ballsy motherfucker. You can't say he's not. He handed the ball off to St. Brown, who pitched it back to Gibbs, who ran it in. I mean, whoever thought of such a thing? Johnny Moe, got to give him a hand. Yeah, good call, Johnny Moe. Good job, buddy. And that's a cool looking play. Risky, risky, but then again, Dan Campbell is a ballsy type of guy, and he has confidence in his O line. For one thing, we need to find a diamond in the rough. I mean, we can't even find a diamond. Forget about the rough, Bialy. We need to find a guy who's a diamond, and it could be obvious as hell. We don't need a diamond in the rough. We just need to find the guy. Doesn't matter if it's in the rough or not. We just need the guy, whatever it is, whatever it takes. Balls. Well, Dodes, like this system that I'm working on is just for the passing, right? So if you had a full system, and so we're just testing out some aspects right now, which is the most important to me, which is the passing. But there's other things to playing quarterback. There's running, there's, sack avoidance, there's pocket presence, there's leadership, there's different things you could take a look at. Pre-snap FBI, football intelligence, post-snap FBI. You could have all of that and grade all of those things. I'm not doing that. Um, so balls would factor in. Balls would fall into that category. Does this guy have balls? And balls would be like, for a quarterback, would actually be something, which is like, does this guy throw risky passes and how does he complete them? A quarterback can be ballsy because he thinks, like Cameron Ward did this in college. He's ballsy because he's got arm talent and he knows he does, and he could risk. He throws risky throws. He's trying that in the NFL and it's not working. But that's what balls would be for a quarterback. Head coach, it's like these decisions right here. You wonder if Aaron Glenn would have made that decision. But then again, Dan Campbell is in year whatever it is, 4 or 5 of his program, and we're at the beginning with Aaron Glenn, and nobody likes to hear that because you know we're sick and tired of it. We're sick and tired of the rebuilds. We get it, but we are in year 1 of this new regime, and nobody wants to hear about it because we're sick and tired of it. But it is, and so Glenn does not have the confidence built up in his quarterback or the O line or anything. So it's really hard to compare, I think. And look at how the right side of the line is collapsing down on these Ravens here. And by the way, they drafted Penei Sewell. Maybe Armand Membo is our Penei Sewell. Let's hope so. Let's hope to God so. Penei Sewell is so good, man. Love me some Penei Sewell. Man, we could have had him, but we took Zach fucking Wilson. Brett Favre. Yeah, exactly. Brett Favre was a ballsy motherfucker. And he threw a lot of picks, don't forget. But in those days, probably Brett, a fair question to ask about Brett Favre is would he have been so good in today's day and age where there's so much data analytics and so many, Twitter, uh, what do you want to call them, analysts, and they'd be saying, he throws too many picks and he takes too many chances and is, you really wonder if he would have had the same career in today's day and age rather than back then, which they kind of just, if the coach liked you, you just kept going. Kind of like Vinny Testaverde. Look at Vinny Testaverde's career stats someday. It's like, man, how many picks did this guy throw? I mean, Jesus. And Lamar did a zone read and got 3 yards, kept the ball. But plenty of time. We're now in the fourth quarter, 14:40 to go. This is an excellent ball game, by the way. The Lions are leading 28-21. It's been an entertaining ball game. Offense, pretty good. Defense coming up big at times. But mostly the offense is moving the ball pretty well. But yeah, I mean, Favre is the ultimate gunslinger, they call him, right? Threw a ton of picks. Ton of picks. Zay Flowers, 3 targets, 2 receptions, 13 yards. All right, now Lamar is in the shotgun, 3-by-1 formation. Got 11 personnel, 3 wide receivers, all bunched up to the right. Looks to the right, now looks to the center, throws down the middle. He's got a man. It's the Batman, Rashad Bateman, with a catch, number 7. That's about a 25-yard gain picked up. I think one of the stories of this game is these teams that are supposed to be good defensive teams are not looking great on defense in general. They ran the bunch, and Bateman found an open hole in the coverage, and Lamar hit him. You know, this is the type of throw you want to see quarterbacks make. Quick, decisive, knew exactly where to go with the ball, and put it on him. No problem. Now they're at the 50-yard line, 13:30 remaining. 2 men in the backfield. They throw to Henry, and he gets stopped, but still picks up about 3 yards as he's able to fall forward. There is a flag on the play. Havmo says elite throw. I don't know about elite. I'd probably put that at great for sure. Chop block on the defense. So that's probably one of these other. That's probably one of those rules I'd get rid of. We need to eliminate about 50% of the rule book, I'd say. Branch. How did he do anything wrong? I don't understand that. I don't understand that rule, and I don't think any of the players do either. I think we need to eliminate about 50% of the rule book. Stupid rules. We don't need them. Dumb, stupid rules. We don't need them. We don't need them. We don't need them. Get rid of them. All right, 1st and 10 now. Ball's at the 32-yard line, the plus 32. So they're able to move the ball at will, these Ravens, for the most part tonight, but still trailing 28-21. They're going to get a false start on Charlie Kolar. That's another thing I would probably take a look at. These false starts and redefine what it is. These guys can't move a muscle. You got to keep the muscles all staying the same. Now, I will say about the passer rating, it is subjective, Havmo. So you might categorize that throw by, Lamar. You might characterize it as elite, and you might be a more lenient grader than me. I'm a tough grader, that's for sure. I want my system to be rugged, and I want to know that, like that. There's a bad pass, but I would want my system to be leaning toward a hard system. So that way, if a guy comes out with a really big grade, then I know for sure he's a guy. You know, I don't want it to be. Yeah, I don't want it to be soft, and then it's like, well, maybe he's a guy. We're not sure. The grading system's a little soft. So I'm a hard grader myself, very hard, I would say. And there's a reason for that. I want to be 100% sure when my system comes out with a number grade, then then it's a solid number grade that you can rely upon. It's just a really good system. And now Lamar looking, throws downfield, got a man. Is it Bateman again? Yeah. He's got the Batman wide open. I mean, you see some of these other games and like our defense doesn't look. I mean, our defense kind of looks like what the Lions are doing. Whatever they're running here, the Ravens are able to find the open spots and boom, bada boom, bada bing. No problem. There looks like they're running covered. Man, that looks like actually quarters. But whatever it is, Lamar is carving them up. So now Lamar's running, and he only gets a couple of yards. That's a good job by the D there. NFL officials should be fined for bad calls. Well, they should certainly be graded. Speaking of grading system, they should be graded for their overall body of work. And if they are in the bottom 10% of their peers, they should be fired. The top companies in the world have a program, almost all of them do, where when the bottom 10% of their workforce every year, if you grade out the bottom 10%, they fire your ass. Because why should they maintain bad employees? If you're at the bottom, then, you shouldn't be there and you probably aren't happy either working there. Why should be any different for referees? We need to get rid of the bad ones. So why don't we have a grading system and the bottom 10% every year, sayonara. Go back to college. Call college games. Do something else. Go to the UFL and we'll get new ones up from college or wherever. You know, cull them, cull the herd. And also, if we eliminated about 50% of the rule book, then the calls would be better. In other words, when you give these people so many things to do, 4 sacks tonight for the Lions. On amoeba front, look at this from Shepard, DC Shepard. When you give these refs so much to do, there's a lot to keep track of. They're more likely to make bad calls, I think. We need to keep it simple for them too. Now Lamar with his crazy movement and he's sacked again. That's going to count as another sack. A lot of these sacks are just Lamar doing crazy stuff and getting caught behind the line. But now it's 4th down. Lamar lost his shoe. Defensive coordinator Shepard going nuts on the sideline. Kelvin Shepard. He took over for Aaron Glenn. They promoted from within. And he's all excited about this sack by Barnes. Boy, if Barnes didn't get him, he was good. He was out the back door. Lamar was like, "Give me 3 steps. Give me 3 steps, brother, and I won't see you no more." Now they're going for a field goal. 41-yard attempt. Rookie kicker loop, and he loops it too. Just makes it in there. Looks like, yep. He got a little loopy with that one. But he made it. So 28-24. This game is this is a good game here. Now the Ravens defense needs a stop. Lamar will get hurt doing that. Well, that's what Lamar does, bro. You got to live with that because that's what makes Lamar special. He has had some injuries, of course, in his career, season enders. So Bialy says the whole system is wide open for corruption. What the referee system? I mean, if they culled the herd, and plus think about that, if they knew they were going to get judged and they want to keep these jobs, which they do. And by the way, all these NFL refs have other jobs. By the way, some of them are lawyers. So that you got a lawyer, some attorney doing attorney work Monday through Friday, and then on Sunday referees a football game, and the referee salary is like 100,000. For one day a week of work, and um, but imagine how much better they'd be if they knew they were going to get judged. There was a system to judge their quality of calls, and the bottom 10% are getting fired. You're out of here. How much better would they be at their job? How motivated would they be not to be at the bottom 10%? That's probably also another reason why companies do that. Do we really want to keep our bottom 10% of salespeople? We're trying to sell a product over here. And this 10%, these people over here can't sell diddly squat. They're missing their targets every month. You know, they're wasting time surfing the internet instead of making calls. We got to get people sold on our product over here. And these salespeople can't get it done. Get rid of them. That's the way it should be. If you can't hack it, get out of here. But it should be the same for the refs, too. That was very close to being no good. They gave it to him. Make it a full time job. Go to school in the off season. Well, there's a problem with the full time job because if they become employees, they're not employees of the NFL. If they become employees of the NFL, there's a problem in that people would say, "Oh, wait a minute, these guys work for the NFL," and they would think that they're rigging the games more than they do now. In favor of what the NFL wants. So the NFL has a problem there. And if they made them so that's the problem. And plus, these people, the referees, they're represented by a union, of course. And the union and the people want to keep their regular job. They want to earn think about how much an attorney makes. An attorney makes at least six figures, right? So the people the one who's an attorney, I'm sure there's more than one, but makes let's say makes 150 160,000 as an attorney or whatever, then he makes another 100,000 for working one day a week on Sunday. I mean, he wants to keep that. He doesn't want to change that. He's working 6 days a week, but hey, making quarter of a mil being an attorney. And attorneys, I guess it varies, depends where you are in your career, but could be making 200, 300, could be making 80, I don't know. All depends. So those are the problems with these refs. And unless anybody complains, unless there starts to be like decreased ratings, the NFL doesn't care about it. We were all upset about those penalties yesterday. You think the NFL cares about all those holding calls yesterday? They don't care. The only way it would get through is if Rich McKay cared about it because he's with the Buccaneers and he's on the competition committee. Oof. Now, is that interceptable or bad? I'm going to say bad. He knocked it away, so it didn't look interceptable, but that was a bad pass. Trying to go to Tesla. Wiggins, this young cornerback, did a good job. Look at that coverage. That's not man, it's on the edge of interceptable, but we'll call it bad. So that's his fifth bad pass of the day, of the night. All right, now it's 3rd and 5. Lions really need to at least match the field goal here, I would say. Now they can't get the ball snapped. That's no good. Now they're going to have to take a penalty. So it'll be 3rd and 10 now. Well, the question is, did they get the timeout in? They should also have like a separate flag, like a green flag or an orange flag for the coach. When he throws it on the field, they call it timeout because then they could go back and review when you threw it on the field and should they have given you a timeout. This idea that they have to physically call it and see you physically wanting it. All right, Goff now trying to run, throws. Oh, that was a dumb, 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 dumb decision. He could have just ran for it. What a dummy. That's another bad throw. That's 6. This guy is way below a C. He's down to the F minus. He's up. His score is currently 0.833. That's below 1. Anything below 1 is below a C. Anything below a C is an F minus. Wow. He could have. Wow. Just when you think Jared Goff is okay, he does dumb stuff like that. Because now the Ravens are down 4. They're returning a punt. They're going to get it at the 21-yard line. And 8:31 to go. Plenty of time for Lamarvelous to go down, get a touchdown, and go ahead. And meanwhile, you could have just run for the first down. He tried to make a crazy throw and was predictably way off. Dumb. Dumb, dumb, dumb. Quite stupid. All right, so we'll take a little mini break here as we're in commercial. Monday Night Football, everybody. Whew. Abmo says he was already across the line of scrimmage. I think some part of him was, yeah. That was just a terrible, terrible decision. Terrible, terrible, terrible. It's been an entertaining game, I'll say that. Lamar now has the ball, hands it off to King Henry, and the ball's punched out and recovered by DJ Reed. Whoa. All right, good for DJ. Now you need to score a touchdown. Forget about playing dead on the ground. You got to score a touchdown. Good job by Hutch punching it out of there. Hutch with the forced fumble on Derrick Henry. That doesn't happen very often. And DJ Reed, Johnny on the spot, fell on it. He learned from his jet experience. Don't try to run with it. Just pick it up and fall on it, DJ. And he did so. Derrick Henry not too happy. Tried to slam his helmet, almost fell on his face. That's not good. All right, now I would encourage the Lions to run the ball. Thank you. I mean, they've been having great success now running the ball, especially up the middle. Now, the Ravens are going to try to stop that, of course, and really, they just need to hold them to a field goal. Because no, that's not true. Well, 31-24. Yeah. Here's Montgomery running up the middle. As I said, yeah, the Ravens are having problems stopping the run up the middle. These A gap runs. But even if they get if they get a touchdown, then you're in trouble probably. Personal foul, face mask, offense. Oh, that's no good. DJ Reed gets lucky. Yeah, he fell on it. At least he fell on it though, instead of trying to pick it up. It's definitely a face mask. Now, if they give up a touchdown, it's going to be a lot tougher. But if they hold them to a field goal, they're okay. They're okay. 2nd and 22. Plenty of time left. Plenty of time. They're at home. 7:41. They got all their timeouts. Detroit only has one timeout. That could come into play later. Red zone TD drives, 4 out of 4 for the Lions, 2 out of 4 for Baltimore. That's been the difference in this ball game. They hand it off to Gibbs. He only gets a yard. Now it's third down. Key third down here. Can they convert and keep going? Because this would be a pretty long field goal, but they do have a good kicker. So 21. Evmo says, yeah, when he got cut by the Jets. Well, we didn't cut him. We let him become a free agent. See, now that's another bad throw for Goff. Now, why didn't they have something ready there? 7. Man, so Goff has not played a good game according to my system. F minus performance from the Goffster. 4th and 21. Now they got to kick the field goal. Yeah, they probably should have just run it and got picked up what they could for the kicker. Jake Bates. And he nails it. So 31 to 24, 7-point lead. That's all it is. It's no problem. Now, the Baltimore Raven defense giving up 31 points. You know, they gave up 40 to Josh Allen. I forget what happened in week 2, but 40, 31, these are not numbers that are normally associated with the Baltimore Raven defense. So something's going on there. Now, they did have similar kind of defensive problems last year, and then they figured it out at the end of the year. Now, who knows what is going on with this defense? But they can't stop the run. That much we do know. Off is struggling. Yeah, you know. But then again, he was never considered an elite quarterback. I mean, he's a guy you're trying to win with. You know, you need to have the team around. I mean, he's a steady Eddie guy. He can run the offense, blah, blah, blah. But he's not going to make elite throws. I mean, he's just not. So therefore, you have to have elite, people around him. You need to have a great defense, and he needs to make better decisions than like that one when he was running and decided to throw it for some stupid reason against his body. He should have just run for the first down. So stupid. You can't make dumb decisions like that. But nonetheless, they're up by 7, and now Lamar has the ball. with a chance for redemption. And we'll see if he can get a little redemption for that fumbalaya. He rolls to his right a little bit, looks that way, and can't find anyone. And who is it? Aiden Hutchinson. Maybe he's coming to life a little bit. 6 sacks for the Detroit Leones. Maybe old Hutch getting his sea legs under him a little bit, although this one took a long time. Lamar's holding it 1 second, 2 second, 3 second, 4 second. Although Hutch made a hell of a move to get through a double team there. So that was pretty sweet. Well, maybe Hutch is returning to form now. After being pretty quiet. Now it's second down and 16. Lamar back to pass, looks to his left, drops it off underneath to the running back. Stumble. Only gets 4 yards. That's not very good. Now it's going to be third down and 12. And you wonder if this is 4 down territory for the Ravens. You would have to think so. There's 5:30 remaining. They're down by 1 score. You do have to wonder. Lamar now in the shotgun. You got 11 personnel with Andrews being the tight end, 2-by-2 formation. One back in the backfield is Hill. He goes back to pass, looking, can't find anyone, rolls around. Now he's going to start running, but here comes the defensive tackle, and it's only a 3 or 4 yard gain. Muhammad playing a nice game tonight. Fourth down. Are they going to punt? Seems so. And if so, that's a very disappointing outcome for the Ravens offense there. Lamar could not find anyone. You got a drop off there. Interesting. Well, they punted away. Now the Lions should definitely run. And run out the clock. Absolutely. And Lamar really hasn't been able to do his Lamar thing tonight. He does look frustrated on the sidelines. Definitely looks frustrated. All right, Goff now has the ball first and 10. Now, if I were them, run. You've been good at running it. Let's keep running it. They run it off to the left. Here's Gibbs making a move. Stay in bounds, Gibby. And they call him out of bounds. Well, that's the one thing he didn't do, but he picked up 8 or 9 yards nonetheless. But you got to stay in bounds there. That's a pretty big mistake. Now, if they get the first down, it's no big deal, but got 2 tight ends in the game. Another run up the middle. And there's the first down. So there you go. Clock keeps ticking away. Ravens have all 3 of their timeouts. You wonder if they're going to start using them here. The clock goes under 4 minutes to go in this crucial contest between the Detroit people and the Baltimore people. And the Lions looking to go 2-1. If they're able to pull this out with Goff performing so poorly, it's kind of a miracle that they're 31 points, but the defense playing opportunistically getting some turnovers. Yeah, I'm on the internet for the game, so I'm going to be lagging behind Bialy. It's the way it goes when you're doing the internet stuff. No way around it. No way around it. So the Ravens are not using their timeouts, and the clock is ticking away. We're under 3 minutes to go now, and it's second down and 8. I mean, this is closing time here for the Ravens. What are they doing? They got to get the ball back. Obviously, the Lions are going to want to run. They pick up 2 or 3 yards there. Now it's third down, but now they can let it go all the way down to the 2 minute if they want. They really do that? They're not going to stop the clock? Really? They do not, according to the clock on screen here, they do not have to snap the ball, or do they? It's close. Well, even if they do, I guess they do have to. But they should let it run all the way down. Do not snap the ball before 1 second on the shot clock, play clock. Yeah, there you go. They run a safe little screen over to Gibbs, and he's close, but he doesn't get the first down. So now I guess it was the right decision. You held them. They got a punt, and you're going to have 1:50 to go, and that's plenty of time for Lamar. So it's going to come down to one crucial drive. Lamarvelous Jackson. Derrick Henry can't believe he fumbled yet again. Maybe Derrick Henry is becoming a fumbleaya in his old age. Maybe the legs don't have any problems. Maybe the arms are a problem. Anybody think of that? You know, Derrick Henry's an old man relative to NFL running backs. Maybe the arms are a problem. Can't secure the ball no more. The old fingers are going. Maybe he's got a little arthritis in the fingers. You ever think of that? You ever think of that? Bialy says, I'm streaming. Oh, well, it could be, we started streaming at different times. There's lags. There's all sorts of problems, Bialy. If you notice, if you watch the watch along with the Green Bean and me and Jeremy, we're always kind of like trying to sync up and we're all streaming, right? So we got to get synced up. It's, it's a problem. It's a problem. It's a problem. That's, DJ Reed is one player that I will never, ever not root for. DJ Reed did everything right while he was here. You know, never did anything wrong and was a really good player for us. One of our few good free agent signings in our history. And so I'm never going to not like him. Sorry. I'm always going to root for DJ Reed. Nobody can change my mind about that. And we probably should have kept him. I don't understand why we wanted to get rid of him so much. Why it was such a foregone conclusion? Give him a few more million. He could still be here instead of stupid Brandon Stephens. 4th and 2. They're not going to punt. This would be pretty dumb. Why are you not punting? Even if you get the first down, they have 3 timeouts. This is a stupid decision. I'm just going to say it. Because even if you get the first and they're throwing, what? Oh, and he makes a throw. Wow. What am I going to give that throw? I'll put a great on that one. Wow. And there's a flag, but it's on the defense decline. But the game, well, now they're in field goal range. Man, that was risky. That was risky. Then again, you have St. Brown who doesn't drop anything. He's sure-handed as can be. Yeah, that's definitely a hold. Humphrey trying to catch up. Ball placement excellent. That's a great throw by Goff. Made plenty of bad ones, but that one he nailed it. And St. Brown, sure-handed as they come. Gutsy call. Who has bigger balls than fucking Dan Campbell? Does anybody have bigger balls? Okay. This man walks around with his balls in a wheelbarrow. Fucking wheelbarrow. Fiber optics? I don't know. I got Spectrum, buddy. I don't know if it's fiber optic or not. I don't think so. Goff, now they're handing it off to run. Oh, there you go. Game is over. Stay in bounds, though. It should not score that touch. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. Go up by 14. Here's why you shouldn't have scored the touchdown. If he slides down at the 2, well, they do have 3 timeouts. But here's the argument against it. What they could do is go down, score a quick touchdown, the Ravens. Then they do an onside. They declare, they do an onside. They get it, and they score again. If you go down right here, then you force them to, and he's saying go down. Yeah, even Goff wanted him to go down. But because now they have a shot. If you went down there, they probably wouldn't have a shot. But they would use all their timeouts because you would just kneel down or just run it to the line, not score. Timeout. Time a dude 3 times, timeout. Then it'd be 130. I don't know. You could have done it either way, but now at least they got a minute 42. They get the ball back, and they could get a quick score. It'd be hard to do, of course, but still throw couple of long passes, score, get a onside kick, and then do it again. And they have 3 timeouts. So I don't know. It's one of those things you can make the argument he should have gone down, but in these situations, the clock is your friend, and a lot of these players and even coaches don't realize how quick somebody like Lamar can score. Yeah, I think Dan Campbell, I think he has the biggest balls of all time. Who else would have done that? And it pays off. Geez. Well, the interesting thing is, even if the Ravens lose, they're 1-2. We've seen the Ravens have a few losses early in the year before. It doesn't really affect them usually. They get it figured out. Whatever the problem is, they get it figured out. But their defense has not been good this year so far. So the thing that they usually hang their hat on, they're not hanging their hat on that. And if the Lions are able to pull this out, it'll be an impressive victory. Now let's see what Lamar can do here. You need some deep passes very quickly. So what does he do? He goes deep. Bateman, no good. Now he's smiling. Who knows? What about? But he's going to need some quick passes and then onside kick it. But of course, not likely to recover an onside kick. Christian Mahogany over there. That's another guy, one of the Jets to draft. Now they're overload blitzing Lamar. Oh, boy, Lamar has not played well tonight. You can't take that sack, brother. What are you doing? 7 sacks for the Lions. Kelvin Shepherd has to be feeling good in the neighborhood. K Shep, the K dog. He's got to be feeling good in the neighborhood about this game. 3rd and 26. Now he drops it off. Ooh, great play by Hill. Go out of bounds. Great play by Hill. 3rd and 26, and they converted. So now it's not over. You got to play it to the end, man. These dudes. These dudes. That's the thing, too, man. You think about Lamar, that was a dumb play. But do you think it affects him on the next play? Nope. Our quarterbacks, they'd be reeling. They wouldn't know what to do with themselves. People like Josh Allen, Lamar, extremely resilient on top of everything else that they do. They do not care. They do something so stupid, and then the next play comes and it's like they didn't do that. Like, you know what I mean? They extremely resilient, tough-minded, I guess you would say. That's something you do look for in scouting too. When something bad happens, does a guy fold his tent and go home, or does he fight? You want fighters on your team. But now there's only 46 seconds. You got to get into the end zone very quickly. Very quickly, Lamar. I said quickly. I said quickly. Now the clock's still running. You need to call a timeout, Harbaugh. 35 seconds. You're gonna still have two timeouts in your pocket when the game ends. The hell are you doing, Harboni? Man, these defensive rankings for the Ravens are going to be pretty terrible. I'm going to look up how many points they gave up on all. They gave up 40 week 1. How many did they give up in week 2? Week 2, they played the Browns. Oh, they played the Browns and only gave up 17. So they had a normal kind of game 2, but these are not good. 40 and then 38. Here comes an all-out blitz on Lamar. Finally throws it to Andrews, who gets in. 29. Took too long. You should have done that on the first all-out blitz. But see, you can never count Lamar out. Now they're going for 2. They should not go for 2. Well, I guess. Because if you miss, you're still only down 8. But if you get it, then a 7-point touchdown wins you the game. I guess you should go for 2 here. Lions now are going to give up at least 30 points. Bears scored 21 in week 2 against the Lions, who put up 52 on offense. Now they're going for 2. But problem is there's 29 seconds. Lamar looking, and incomplete. Flag on the play. Avmo would kick the PAT. Well, if you kick the PAT, then you're down 7. What does that really get you? You still need to get 7. This is offsetting penalties. It makes sense to go for 2 here because you're going to need 7 at the end of the day anyway. At least 7. Well, I guess you could look at it like, well, I'd rather not need the 2 later. But then you're playing for a tie. Yeah, go for overtime. You don't want to go for overtime. You want to win. Oh, that was terrible. Yeah, what Harbaugh is saying is, I don't want to play for a tie. I want to play for a win. But if I don't make this 2-point attempt, I can still get a tie if I have to. So that's what he's kind of saying there. Plus, it's been such a long game. You wonder if a lot of that is determined by I don't want my guys playing overtime because this has been a physical long game. We play overtime, maybe we risk an injury. I don't know. But now they can go for OT. Now they have to go for OT anyway, if they're going to have any chance at all. So they have to now recover this kick. It took them a long time to get that touchdown, but still, enough time to get it done. They could do it. Would be very disappointing for Detroit, of course. Now, I don't. One thing about this new rule, I don't like the fact that you have to announce it. Why do we have to do that? And Laporta is the one who gets it. So, hands team, Laporta the man. That's it. That's going to be game over. Lamar and the Ravens go down. Jared Goff and the Lions win. 7 sacks, turnovers, all sorts of things going on. That same decision screwed Harbaugh. I don't know about last year. If you want me to remember last year, Atmo, I'm not going to remember. I can barely remember last week. Forget about last year. But ultimately, it doesn't matter because they didn't get the ball back. They had to recover the onsides either way. So, well, impressive win for the Lions. I'll say that. Go on the road against Lamar and the Ravens and put up 38 points and, pull out a win. That's impressive for the Lions. We'll say that. And that's a good thing because you want the Eagles to have some competition in the NFC. If the Lions were going to kind of like take a step back this year, which they may still, but if that was going to be the case, then you know who's gonna challenge the freaking Eagles? You want to see the Eagles go to the Super Bowl again? How about the old Lions going to the Super Bowl? How about ACDC in the Super Bowl? All right, so thanks for joining everybody. The game is over. The Lions have won. The Ravens have lost. It's Monday Night Football. That's the end of week 3 of the NFL season. Please consider joining the inner circle on this channel by clicking the join button down below. For $2 a month, you get exclusive videos, documents, draft guides, you name it, you get it. $2 a month. That's a good investment, I think. Otherwise, if that's beyond your budget, you can also subscribe to the channel for free by clicking the subscribe button and or liking this video down below. Thanks, everybody, and I'll see you on Thursday night for Thursday Night Football this Thursday. Don't miss it right here on FSPN.